Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, guys, welcome into Monday on the Redbird Rush Hour. No Bernie today. Bernie was on Gas House Gang, so he'll be on Gas House Gang throughout the course of the week this week. And Matt Pauley is on vacation, which means Nate Gatter is in for Matt. Nate, good to see you, buddy. How you been?
Good to see you, man. I'm good. How are you?
You know what? I suck right now. I'm not going to lie, because this is the most boring part of the sports calendar. There's just, like... thankfully, we at least have a little World Cup to fill some of the gap.
I was going to say, spoken like a man who's not a big soccer guy, because other folks would say this is maybe the week of the 4-year cycle for them, sports-wise.
See, I'm not a soccer guy, but I like this event. I love the World Cup. I watch a lot more. I mean, I watch more soccer during the World Cup than I will watch in the whole 4 years between them.
Well, the semifinals are somewhat, because they're trying to accommodate the European time zones as well, somewhat inconveniently timed for you and the DGS folks.
Yes, but I mean, like, just as a baseball guy, this is the worst time of year.
Yeah.
It's a good time of year for talk, though. So I love it for work because we got a lot of cool angles we can take with the Cardinals, moving into the second half and all that. We'll start with the Cardinals. And we'll move into a little bit of the home run derby tonight with Jordan Walker being a part of it and the All-Star festivities and how, in my opinion, I don't know if you'll agree, Nate, we'll get to this a little later, but how baseball just can't get out of their own way. They continue to keep doing stupid things with these events where they could get a lot more headlines, a lot more attention on these off days, but you waste it by, for example, playing the Future Stars game at noon on a Sunday up against the World Cup, up against a full Major League Baseball schedule, up against your draft, up against a full minor league schedule, and you play the Future Stars game then? You want to market the future stars of the game by putting them up against every other thing on your calendar?
Yeah, I didn't watch the draft at all this year.
It's not much to watch.
Probably true of basically everyone.
Yeah, I don't watch the draft. I follow it, though. I mean, I got it on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm always seeing what's happening.
The clips that I did see, especially once they got past the first round, but even from the very beginning, I mean, Rob Manfred mispronounced the name of his number one overall pick.
Chalewski. He calls the number one pick in the draft. You get his name wrong.
That's tough. And then past that, as they get into the later rounds and they go to like the streaming option, and you can hear people like the construction guys or the set guys like striking everything. You can hear the pipes clattering on the ground in the background. I'm like, I don't think this is how it goes in the NFL draft. It's not like when you get to rounds 4 and 5, you can hear the beeping of the crane in the background as Roger Goodell himself, rips the set down.
Yeah, it's terrible. We can get into more of those bigger picture things, and I think we should. And I will get to this is actually the first home run derby in a while that I kind of care about. And it's not just because of Walker. It's because of the format change, and we can talk more about that a little bit later on. But I think the Cardinals stuff, for our purposes, obviously takes front and center. But I also think there are some really interesting things to do. So I want to start today, Nate. I think maybe later in the week, because you're in for Matt most of the week, right?
Yeah, I'll be in tonight and the next 2 nights.
Nice. So maybe these next couple nights we'll mix in a different angle on the cards in talking about the specific. What do you need to do to be better? What determines buy versus sell? Blah, blah, blah. We'll do all that at another time. I think a good conversation to start off here with the All-Star break is simply, what did we learn from the pre-All-Star portion of the schedule? And I'll go first since I didn't tell you about this earlier, so I'll put you on the spot. But I think the most important thing, this to me trumps everything more than the record of the team, more than their proximity to a playoff spot. The number one development for them is they now have 2 proven star hitters. And I'm not even counting Burley and Herrera in that, because we already knew they were kind of good, right? We know now that Jordan Walker is one of the best power hitters in the sport, at least up to this point. But we know that he's capable of reaching the heights that we thought now. That's a franchise caliber player. He's one of the top 20 hitters in baseball this year. And with J.J. Weatherholt, you have one of the top 5 or 6 all-around players in the sport. To me, that's what they've been missing the last couple years. Prime age, star, everyday players that people will come and buy tickets to see. I think that was the most important thing we learned in the first half.
I think my number one takeaway would go along with yours, and it's sort of counterintuitive maybe, and I understand a lot of people probably don't feel this way because once you once you get some steps forward and people see the possibilities that are there, including for this year's team, everybody starts clamoring for the next thing all the time. We were very quick to reset our expectations upward. We're very slow to reset them downward. That's just true of the human experience.
Totally right. Yeah.
Right? That's not a baseball thing. It's not a St. Louis thing. That's just all humans everywhere in everything. That's how we operate. And which is sort of good because you want to try to get the next thing, right?
Sure.
Just because you've had success doesn't mean you shouldn't try to have more. Right. So I'm not saying that I don't think the Cardinals can make the playoffs or that I don't want them to succeed or whatever. What I'm going to say is I consider this season already such a success based on the criteria that we would have set beforehand. Back when we were talking about this back before spring training and going into opening day, in part because of what you're saying, that they've established the runway of the season has already given us two things we didn't have before the season. It's given us a guy in Weatherholt who we thought could maybe be this, and a guy who...
And he's that right away, not in time. Like, as a rookie, he's that.
And a guy in Jordan Walker who maybe a few years ago we all thought could be this, but we had pretty much all given up on, and we're saying this is the last dance here.
Last shot, yeah.
And he has vastly exceeded any reasonable expectations coming into this season. He has maybe even exceeded what the expectations would have been for him a couple of years ago now. I mean, it wouldn't be fair to expect this of anybody, no matter how highly touted a prospect the guy is. And so I consider those two things, not to mention some of the progression we've seen from other guys.
Oh, yeah.
Such a success already this year that almost no matter what happens, I'm going to be good. I would like to see them able to stay in the conversation into September just so they can play some of those games where things
Pressure's
tighten up
on the
a little
line.
bit,
Yep.
right? But
it's good experience.
If they come down to the last week of the season and they get swept and they miss out on the wild card by 2 games and you tune into KMOX on October 3rd expecting to see me throw a chair through a window, it's just not going to happen.
No.
I'm just not going to be able to get worked up about it like that. It'd be great if they make the playoffs. I'd be thrilled.
And
but this is such a success.
And it should be their goal.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that that's the only success when you came into this year knowing this was the beginning stages, probably stage 2 of a rebuild, right? Because last year was really stage 1.
This is a talking head luxury. The opinion I'm expressing is one that you're allowed to have in my position, right? Like nobody in that clubhouse, coaching staff, players, and athletic trainers, I don't care who you are, nobody can be saying, well, been a great season, guys.
Right.
You know, whatever happens, happens, right? That's a toxic mindset, obviously.
Right.
And if I were on the team, I wouldn't be saying those things, at least not out loud.
No.
But from my standpoint, I get to be honest about that kind of thing. And I am so thrilled with the direction. This has been everything I wanted out of this season and more.
Yeah.
I am so excited about the direction. I feel so positive about the future of the Cardinals. And that's the thing. I felt that way even before the season. I feel more that way about it now. I would consider this an 11 out of 10 in terms of how much more excited I am to be a St. Louisan, to watch the Cardinals and follow the Cardinals going forward compared to, let's say, 18 months ago.
Look, hope has been restored, right? Because you're seeing the development of star players. Star players is what they've been lacking. We haven't seen that yet on the starting pitcher side, right? Nobody there is a star. You know, May has high-end ability, but he's not a star. And look, as good as McGreevy's been, as solid as Leahy's been lately, Liberatore, those guys aren't star pitchers. That's going to be the next thing that needs to come. But kind of just going to what Justin said on the stream, Justin's comment was the number 4 prospect for the Cardinals just got promoted to Memphis. That's right. That's Durangelo Saintia. Everybody knows him as the guy that throws both right and left-handed, although it's like 99% right-handed. But I think he's faced 22 batters left-handed this year. But he's moved to AAA. And in addition to my first point, the development of 2 now controllable young star players, guys in their early 20s. Weatherholt's now locked up for the next 8 years. On the minimum side, you control Walker for 3 more years. Now, who knows beyond that? We don't need to get into the extension stuff. Just know that I mentioned this on DGS with Dave about a half hour ago. A Walker extension would probably cost twice what Weatherholt's extension cost because he's only 3 years from free agency.
And they're in a place now. So I think this is true in a lot of sports, but especially in baseball where it's so difficult to quantify some of those years that you'd be buying out.
Yeah.
Especially because there is so much upward and downward risk for both parties at this stage. A guy like this who had all the potential, then had terrible struggles, and now is playing at an all-world level, it's so difficult to pin that down, right? Because if you're coming to him about an extension, he's saying, great, you're paying me at my production for this year.
$250 million.
Right.
Well, what you're doing is buying free agency.
Right.
See, with J.J. Weatherhold, an 8-year deal only buys 2 years of his free agency. Yeah. With Walker, if you were going to go on an 8-year deal, you're buying 5 years of his free agency. And if he continues anywhere close to what he's been this year, even if it's not exactly this, even if it's 90% of this, 80% of this, he's a $300 or $400 million free agent in his late 20s. So to get him on a long-term deal, you're buying out a lot of free agent years. That's where it gets really expensive.
And it's so hard in negotiations right now between any team and any player like Jordan Walker to find the ligature points that you need to be able to hold on to in negotiation. Because Jordan Walker is saying, okay, if I'm signing an extension, it's at the rate of a guy who hits 290 with 40 home runs a year. Yeah. And the Cardinals are saying, okay, well, we love how well you're playing this year, but we got to get something baked in for when you were a 210 guy, right? Like we need something in between here. Jordan Walker has very little incentive. And in fact, if Walker agreed to an extension right now that valued him as like a middle of those two things guy, I'd be concerned. I'd be like, Jordan Walker or his agent don't believe in him to sustain this, right? Yeah. He should want top dollar because he should say, if you won't give it to me, I'm going to rake for 3 more years, and then you're going to see what the Mets and the Dodgers and the Yankees are willing to pay.
And proximity to free agency is the biggest factor in a lot of this. The closer you are to free agency, the more likely you are to bet on yourself. Because if he has 2 more years like this, again, he's a $500 million player. At his age, he's only going to be 27 or 28 when he's a free agent. So he's going to get one of those. Now, who knows with the new collective bargaining and what's in there, but we're just kind of going by what we know now. So interesting stuff there. There's another part to this I'll tease now, and we'll get to on the other side of the break. But I think another part of the providing hope, because what you're getting in Weatherhold and Walker and seeing more of Herrera and seeing Mason Wynn continue to be the impact player he is and Burley taking another step and seeing more of the young, like Nathan Church is a pretty good player. We've seen a lot of progress. We've seen a lot of guys show up from the minors and help. And then the minor league system itself is providing a lot of help. We'll touch on that briefly coming up next. Nate Gatter in for Matt Pauley. I'm Kevin Wheeler. It's Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog. Well, they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Are front paws hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire. At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Well, dealing with that crash southbound on Highway 55 south of M. They've zoomed in the camera for me. The left lane is blocked there, southbound Highway 55, but it's also blocked northbound on 55 at that same location. Southbound drivers obviously headed out of St. Louis are seeing more of a delay there, and it's a short delay south of Highway M up to the accident scene. Things are opening up a bit, but not quite quickly eastbound on Highway 70. The accident is out of the way just before Forestell. However, we're still seeing delays between Wright City and Forestell, as well as a pocket of volume east of Warrenton up to about midway between Warrenton and Wright City, eastbound on Highway 70. Looks like the delays on the outer roads there and Highway M, those are dissipating, though. That's good news for drivers headed eastbound on 70. Westbound on 64, you're on the brakes now between the Lake St. Louis Boulevard area, headed out towards the Wentzville merge. Westbound Highway 70 through St. Charles County County looks good this afternoon. We continue to thin out westbound on Highway 64, just that pocket of volume right at Hampton up to about the Tam Avenue overpass on westbound 64, southbound 170 on the brakes from the Parkway down to 64, mainly that ramp headed to eastbound Highway 64. I'm Frank Ladd in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Duke's Real Mayo.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about award-winning chefs. Yes, chef. And why they choose Duke's Mayo. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour here on a Monday on the All-Star break. And obviously Matt Pauley taking the All-Star break for a little family time and vacation. Bernie's on Guest House Gang all week, in part because Matt's out and because other guys are moving around for the All-Star break. So we got shuffling pieces here, and Nate Gatter in for Matt tonight, tomorrow night, and the next night. Good. We have a lot of good stuff to talk about.
You know what we should be doing? All these shows, All-Star break, we should really take it to the next level. We should just whole squad goes to Cancun and we do the shows from there. You know?
Should go like on a Cardinals spring break cruise and all of us get to go. Yeah, I'm not spring break, but an All-Star break.
All-Star break, yeah.
Same idea. We could turn it into spring break. All right, separate thing, talking about what's good. And look, there are down things for the first half. Like, there are things we're not happy about. I don't think those are even close to mentionable compared to the pluses. The pluses have been way better. We mentioned that, the biggest, to me anyway, the biggest development, and you seem to agree, is that you have star offensive players now. Young, inexperienced, but young, productive, cost-controlled, years-controlled. We can count on J.J. Weatherholt in a Cardinals uniform. We can count on Jordan Walker. These are guys you can sell tickets around. I think the next thing that tied into that with me, in terms of, because what they had to do, in addition to winning more games, is also win back fans, win back enthusiasm, win back emotion. So we started to see a lot of that, right? The ballpark's more fun because hope is coming back. And part of that now, too, is you look at the farm system. And 7 of your top 8 prospects are at double or triple A, which means they are short-term options to help the major league team. They're soon. Your number 1 prospect is a 19-year-old who's at double A, and he's killing it. He could be your next rock star. If you're 19 at double A and putting up big numbers, you're special. You're different. That's not normal. Liam Doyle appeared in the Future Stars game yesterday. He's at double A. He's not perfect now, but you can see he's upper 90s. He's improving his split. He's working on the things he needs with his command. Joshua Baez is going to be a 35-homer guy by the time he gets called up. Like, he's had an explosion these last 2 years. We mentioned Dranzel Osanges now at AAA Memphis. Leo Bernal, one of the top catching prospects in baseball at AAA Memphis. Quinn Matthews has figured some things out. You guys go look at his last 30 days. He's playing now in a way that's going to get him here this year, the way he's pitching. And big strikeout numbers, the walks are coming down. And then you've got a bunch of others too, right? A lot of exciting younger prospects. But, you've got a bunch ready to help. And if you're looking for hope, it's the hope for more potential stars. It's guys like Baez and Doyle and Rodriguez, where you look at, those guys can be impact players. Quinn Matthews could be a good, solid, number 3 starter. Those are important people.
And I think what's also great about that is how well all of a sudden the timeline looks like it's lining up. With those guys can get to the big leagues in some cases before the end of this year, certainly if not next year, then the year after, right? And these next couple of years, we're talking about the possibility of a Jordan Walker extension, and obviously none of us have the crystal ball of how that's going to go, but we all do know if it doesn't get done, when they're going to lose him, right?
Right.
And so for the next couple of years, they have a talented and very, very affordable lineup. That is, we know that, right? Jordan Walker's price is going to go way up next year, even if there's no extension.
Right, in arbitration, yeah.
But he's going to be still making way less than what he's worth on the open market, right? That's obvious.
On the open market right now, if he was a free agent today, he's probably a $400 million player.
I think that's true. Even
because of his age and the power and all that.
Even if you're signing him on the positive sample size of 1/2 a season,
right?
I think that's still true. But
right, maybe not 400, but probably 300.
When you consider the control and the production from not only Weatherholt and from Walker, but from Herrera, but from Burleson, this is a young, cost-controlled, and all of a sudden quite productive lineup. and especially at the top. Now, they do need to lengthen that
Yes.
lineup, but that's something that can be done easily.
And it's already started.
Yes, it's already started with the guys that they have in the system, and it's something that can be done pretty easily because they have a lot of flexible dollars for these next couple of years because the core is so affordable. Same story on the starting pitching side.
Yeah.
If they bring up Quinn Matthews and they end up deciding, okay, this is a guy who can be the number 3 on a World Series team, but not a number 1 or 2, and that's where we're settling in, that's perfectly fine because this is a team that if they want to go and bring in a veteran guy who's really expensive on a short-term deal, that's easily done in the next couple of years because they're going to have so much payroll wiggle room, even without spending more or even without spending as much as what they were spending before this season. So I'm so excited about that because I think if anything, all those guys who were so advanced in the minor league system, you were worrying, are these guys going to be getting up or pushing for the big leagues when we've still kind of got this log jam of a million guys we want to give runway to, right? This isn't looking too good. But this season has accomplished exactly what you wanted, which is that guys have separated. Some guys have taken advantage of the runway, some haven't.
Some of them are back in Memphis.
And so, so you can start to clear out the Nolan Gormans of the world, no disrespect to him, but you can start to clear out his at-bats and his innings to give those to guys coming up now, while also having solidified Walker as a guy that is not touched and is not somebody who can be supplanted by anybody at AAA. And I think that's the kind of information that Chaim Bloom desperately wanted to gather out of this season, and he's gathering it.
Yeah, it's been, and again, look, I don't want to gloss over problems, okay? The problems exist, right? Matthew Liberatore's had a few better ones lately, but he's been a problem. It's a problem you have to solve. Some of the bullpen has been overworked. That's a problem to solve, right? You got to find a way to get more innings from your starters, or you're going to have to keep shuffling the bullpen to keep people fresh. There are concerns. That's not to say that there are none. I mean, third base is a massive concern. Gorman's in Memphis. Blaze Jordan hadn't hit for about a month. He had a great opening week, and I'm not picking on the guy. He's a rookie. He's young, but there's a reason he's losing playing time because Fermin's outplaying him. And by the way, Fermin's been a nice development. He is a really good utility guy, and every good team needs a good utility guy. I mean, look at how important a guy like Kike Hernandez has been for the Dodgers. Barely plays during the season, but in the postseason, he fills in there and he hits dingers and he's making great plays in the outfield and all that stuff. I mean, role players matter for good teams too, and Fermin definitely has the tools for that versatility, the contact skill. So you've learned a lot. I think you've learned a lot more on the positive than the negative so far. And
don't worry about third base, Wheels. You know who's going to be a free agent this offseason?
Who's that?
Anthony Rendon. So be all over him.
All right. Yeah, and again, with the players you have, the other great thing about the minor league system with as many guys getting near the big leagues as you have is it opens you up to trade others. If you want to trade one of your catchers, whether it's Crooks or Bernal, you can do that. They're not trading Raniel Rodriguez. He's going nowhere. But if you wanted to trade one of those young guys and maybe package them with a pitcher to get a third baseman for next year, forget long term, for next year, if there's a guy out there, you can definitely do those types of things. And that's why I think the overall vibe here is positive because your system is moving up the ranks. I'm not going to get nerdy on you guys and get into the draft. I thought they had a really good draft. I loved what they did in the draft this year. It's not going to all work out, but you can only go by process, and the process makes sense. Young high school players with contact skill and athleticism and big arms.
And if you want to get nerdy, if you're saying, I wish that Wheels was getting nerdy right now, if you want to talk a little draft, Sam Dykstra is going to be coming on with us in about an hour.
Yeah.
And so, just stick around or circle back with us, 6:30, 6:35, and we're going to have Sam to talk Cardinals draft class.
Sam's great. I highly recommend sticking around. Sam Dykstra does a great job with prospects in the draft and everything else. All right, that's Nate Gatter. I'm Kevin Wheeler. I don't know why I said your name Getter instead of Gatter. Nate Gatter's in for Matt Pauley, and I'm Kevin Wheeler on Redbird Rush Hour. Stick around. We're going to talk a bit about the All-Star break itself, the All-Star game, the Home Run Derby, and how baseball sometimes just can't stop kicking themselves in their own rear ends. We get to that coming up on the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
At 5:30, this update's sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got sunshine and 86 downtown at the Arch. Float season is interrupted for folks in Steelville. Friday's heavy rains forced Huza Valley Resort personnel to evacuate campers in advance of high water. Resort manager Corey Cottrell on Fox 2.
It was a record flood. It got 5 feet higher than it's ever gotten before. We are recovering. We are looking to open up on Thursday.
Metrolink trains will not operate between the Forest Park Developer and Grand Metrolink stations all day Saturday and Sunday. This is for bridge maintenance work. During those periods, station shuttles will take riders by bus. Riders should allow an extra 30 minutes to avoid delays. 12 states are now suing to block the proposed merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery from moving forward.
The new lawsuit claims the $110 billion deal to merge two of the largest entertainment companies in the world would result in less competition, higher prices, and fewer options on the big and the small screen. California Attorney General Rob Bonta leading the effort.
Movie theaters, basic cable TV distributors, and audiences on every sofa and in every movie seat would feel the impact of this unlawful merger.
Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Remembering Sam Neill, the star of Jurassic Park, who passed away at the age of 78 after a battle with blood cancer. Here's ABC's Laura Spencer.
To millions, he was Dr. Alan Grant.
It's a dinosaur.
The reluctant hero of Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park, propelling him to superstardom, which he talked about right here on Good Morning America in 1993.
It's kind of a monster, isn't it? People seem to be very nice to me. That's kind of good. And people come and make dinosaur noises to me when I'm standing in the checkout line.
But his life and career stretched far beyond that franchise.
If it seems like everybody is using Wegovy or Ozempic, here's why. A new survey finds that the percentage of Americans who've tried GLP-1s for weight loss has never been higher.
The Gallup organization surveyed 5,000 people spread across all 50 states, finding that 15% of them have tried GLP-1 drugs since they hit the market, and about 11% are on them now. That's more than triple the percentage of 2024. The Gallup National Health and Wellbeing Index doesn't draw conclusions, but did find that the national obesity rate has fallen to 36.4% of the population, 5.5% lower than in 2022. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, for tonight, clear sky, low 69 degrees. For tomorrow, sunshine, high 90. For Wednesday, sunshine, more humidity, high 91. And for Thursday and Friday, hot, more humidity, could have a spot storm, and a high of 91 degrees. Right now, 86 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck, taxed. Your property, taxed. Everything you buy, taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Looking for a career change? Well, the Gelman team with eXp Realty is hiring. Their unmatched blueprint to success, real support, and proven systems help agents take their business to the next level. Level up your future and earning potential. Take the first step at thegelmanteam.com.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
And this update is brought to you by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Southbound 55, that accident at south of Barnhart, south of Highway M, has been cleared. Looks like the left shoulder may still be an emergency vehicle there. Northbound drivers, all lanes back open there. So you've got delays southbound. Make your way south of Barnhart, south of Highway M, headed towards that earlier accident scene, but should be opening up rather quickly, though, as the blockage is out of the way. Eastbound on Highway 70, still seeing delays near Wright City, coming around the bend at Wright City, up in pockets towards Forestdale. That accident is out of the way. All lanes are back open eastbound on Highway 70 before Forestdale. Still seeing delays westbound on 64 now from Lake St. Louis out to Wentzville. And you've got your normal pocket of volume westbound on Highway 64 at the Tam Avenue overpass. Similar story eastbound on 64, passing 170. Make your way up to about Hanley and Big Bend. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today, now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. I'm Frank Ladd on the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
It's 5:40. This time check is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, back in on Redbird Rush Hour. Nate Gatter is in for Matt Pauley. No Bernie today. I think Bernie's with us on Friday, but throughout a lot of the week, he is on the Gas House Gang this week because obviously with the All-Star break, there are a lot of vacations. Matt Pauley is on vacation for the week. He'll be back on Friday. But we're talking Cardinals baseball here. Well, we just talked Cardinals. I want to shift a little bit to the bigger baseball picture, Nate. And I know this is a baseball show, so I'm not going to bring up the World Cup with you, but I'm sure you'll be doing that coming up tonight, right?
Yeah, we got plenty of World Cup the next few nights.
There you go. Good. I was going to bring it up, but I'm like, it's a baseball show. I think that'd be probably inappropriate when Sports Open Line will cover it nicely coming up after the 6 o'clock news. Let's talk bigger picture. You know, I said this earlier. I want to repeat it. I'm not jazzed, jacked up, excited, fired up, whatever. I'm none of those things for the home run derby tonight, but I'm interested. And it's been a long time since I've been interested in a home run derby. And part of it, sure, is Walker being there, but that's not why I'm interested. That's not why I'm intrigued by this. I think the format change is going to place the focus where it should be, which is on enjoying the experience of watching home runs. It became too much of a race against the clock, too much speed, and we weren't even getting to see where the home runs land, and they're already hitting another one. It's like swing, swing, swing. And that's not the beauty of the home run. The beauty of the home run is admiring it, is watching it. And what sets the Derby apart is this is a chance where we can see, hey, just how far can these guys hit a ball if they don't have to swing every 3 seconds? So now it's just a number of swings per round. It's, to me, still too high. I would bring the number of swings down and maybe include more hitters. And then put distance into the calculation. Like, okay, maybe the first tiebreaker is the distance traveled of your 5 furthest home runs or whatever. But I like what they're doing with this because I think it just brings back the skill of hitting home runs and not just the endurance factor where guys are getting worn out and tired.
I think all of that is fair and true. I'm going to add one other thing, and I don't want you to yell at me when I say this. No matter what the format has been, do not particularly care about the home run derby because I just don't find it that entertaining. To me, the home run is, physically very, very impressive. Not one of the more entertaining things that can happen at a baseball game. I don't go to a baseball game in person hoping for the maximum number of home runs. I would love to see a lot more nuance. I would be much more interested in some kind of, now when the NBA has tried to do this, it has failed spectacularly. Yeah. So these are famous last words. But I would be much more interested in some kind of all-encompassing skills challenge, like almost combine style. I think that'd be really fun, especially because if you're somebody who's been through or attended a bunch of high school and college kids going through scouting combine stuff, it'd be kind of fun if we made established Major League All-Stars do it again the way they were doing it at 16 and 18 and 20 years old. But that's not to say I don't think a home run derby can be fun, and I totally agree with you that the admiration part of it is essential.
That's all of
it. Right? The only home run derby that really stands out in my mind, it's not to say it's the only good one, but the only one in my lifetime that is like firmly fixed in my brain where I feel like I can see it like it just happened, is Josh Hamilton at Yankee Stadium.
That was amazing.
And Josh Hamilton doesn't even win that.
No, but he hit so many bombs.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But he is, that's the cultural
McGuire at
touchdown.
Fenway was kind of like that, too.
That's a touch before, like, I was alive, but I don't remember watching
I gotcha.
That's fair. But Josh Hamilton is the one that stands out in my mind. And I was thinking as you were saying that, would it stick in my mind the same way? Would it have had the same shock and awe entertainment value if we were going to a split screen every time the ball was on the way to hitting an advertising wall above the bleachers and watching him hack at the next pitch? Right. And the answer is clearly no.
Yes.
Clearly no.
No, I agree that there's nothing inherently exciting about a home run derby, and it's really basically for the nerds. I'm serious. I mean, because
I do, to that point, I like watching it a lot on the StatCast, and I'm not generally a StatCast guy on like a regular game, but I do enjoy watching the home run derby on the StatCast.
And I don't even mean the numbers nerds. I mean the baseball nerds, because like my greatest appreciation, what makes me like the home run derby is watching the other all-stars sitting there on the field losing their minds when a guy hits a ball 500 feet. Like, if those guys are impressed, it's something cool.
Yes.
Those guys see this every day. They see batting practice every day. And every major leaguer can hit home runs in batting practice. There is not a single guy in the major leagues that can't hit a home run at will in batting practice. They all can do it. Take the lightest hitter you can think of. He can hit a home run in batting practice anytime he wants. If they are impressed by something happening in that setting, it's pretty cool. But I do get what you're saying in the sense that if you're not a total baseball dork, it's probably not that intriguing to you.
It's a little repetitive.
But I think to your point, you're right.
What I like about what you bringing that up is that one of the disconnects I think we have, this applies to every professional sport, but I think it's the most profound in baseball because of the romantic America's pastime element of it, which is a disconnect between fans and players, of fans saying, can you imagine living the dream to play a kid's game every single day? And look at these players who, sometimes don't run out a ground ball or look like they don't even want to be there or have an attitude about this, that, the other thing, or make this much money, whatever. Home Run Derby, more so than maybe any other time, we watch a bunch of established Major League All-Stars making millions, if not tens of millions of dollars, act like children again and have the same reactions they would have had if they were 10 and their dad brought them to the event. And I think that heals the soul a little bit. It brings that together. The players and the fans are closer than they ever are any other time because the players who are watching are just fans at that moment.
That's a great way to put it. It brings the fans and the players. You can see the fan in the players when this is happening.
And I love to see that they love baseball. It's why I mentioned Anthony Rendon jokingly earlier in the show, but it's one of the reasons people have so much resentment toward him, the average baseball fan. I'm sure he's a perfectly fine guy. I'm sure if you went to dinner with him, you'd be like, yeah, nice enough dude, whatever. Yeah. But people resented that he was making so much money playing Major League Baseball and he didn't love the sport the way the fans do. And it's great to see some of these guys love it the way we do.
All right, a little more baseball coming your way in a second. First up, let me reach out to all of you that are thinking about selling your home at any point, really, but especially if you're thinking about doing it heading into the late summer, early fall. You want to call Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. There is a reason why she is one of the top St. Louis real estate experts. There's a reason why she sells so many more homes faster and for more money than the average agent. I mean, like a lot of agents sell 4 or 5 homes a year. Gloria Liu sells like a home every other day. They have a database of thousands of buyers in waiting. So somebody that wants a home like yours is probably sitting there on that list. They get top dollar. They have a proven system, and Gloria walked me through it. It was really interesting. We talked for probably 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and just went through it. And she'll explain all of the systems to you, too. But it's a proven system. It works. And a lot of it is that database, having those people lined up and ready to go. But, she also brings you the upfront written guarantees. She will sell your home at a price and a time frame acceptable to you, or Gloria will buy the home herself. And if that's not the one you want, maybe this one is. She'll sell your home at 100% of market value or pay you the difference. Either way you win, you're getting the best with Gloria Liu. So give her a call, 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. And keep in mind, right now, Gloria's also hiring. She's growing her team. So if you or somebody wants to level up your real estate career, then you want to give Gloria a call. They're hiring motivated inside sales and listing agents right now. So if you want to work with the proven winner, the best in the business here in St. Louis, again, you can reach Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. As always, seller and Gloria must agree on price and possession date.
Your health story is shaped by more than genetics. Everyday choices like nutrition, physical activity, sleep, tobacco use, and routine screenings all play a role in your future health. Seidman Cancer Center's Your Disease Risk helps you understand how family history and lifestyle work together, offering personalized insights to support healthier decisions. Knowing your risks today can help protect your tomorrow. Visit seidman.washu.edu/YDR.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we're still seeing a pocket of volume eastbound on Highway 70 near Wright City. That's all due to an earlier crash at Forestel. So the backups are easing, so that's good news because you had been backed up all the way to Warrenton. Now it's just pockets approaching Wright City, east of there, opening up, headed towards Forestdale. There's an emergency vehicle still on the scene, still blocking the left shoulder southbound on Highway 55 and Highway M. That earlier crash is out of the way, so the lane blockage is gone, but the emergency vehicle is still there with a car off the shoulder there at southbound 55 south of M. That's what's causing those delays this afternoon. I'm Frank Ladd with traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com Traffic Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour. Nate Gatter in for Matt Pauley. Kevin Wheeler with you here. Bernie off on the show today. He's on the Gas House Gang earlier and will be for a bunch of the week as well. So just for today, Bernie getting the evening off. Nate, let's spend the last few minutes that we have in this hour before we get to Sports Open Line crapping on Major League Baseball and the league office. Because I think as much as I do like the changes with the Home Run Derby, they finally did something sensible and stopped catering to ESPN's stupid sensibilities of wanting to have nonstop action all the time and everybody's going fast and Chris Berman's always going back. Shut up. Rein it back in. Let's make the Home Run Derby what it should be about, which is admiring home runs. And it sounds like that's the plan for this year on the Netflix broadcast, which is a different conversation. But at least Netflix reaches 90 million people, and it's more than ESPN reaches, by the way.
This is a little inside broadcasting, but as much as I understand and totally empathize with people saying it's frustrating to have every different service under the sun to watch what I want to watch and to figure out how to get there, and it's difficult to switch and whatever. Although those things are all true, the difficult to switch thing has some upside, I think, to the viewer, especially to the viewer who's over like 18 years old and didn't grow up on TikTok.
Right, because you get to
which
focus
is that
a little bit.
Netflix, compared to ESPN, does not have that quite the same pressure to be ultra entertaining all the time because it's so much harder to change the channel on Netflix when you've got to exit the app and open a different app than it is if you're watching ESPN on your cable subscription and you can click one time and the channel changes, right? And so ESPN is cognizant of that. They have to be in a way that Netflix obviously has to be as well, but they can just turn the dial down 10 or 20%, and I think you'll feel that as a viewer.
Yeah, I mean, so the problem is that it was the ESPN-ification of it that people started to hate because they want it to be like every other sport and fast-paced and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not what baseball is. Baseball isn't that, so making it that kind of ruins that event. But I'm glad they made those changes. But like I was complaining about it briefly earlier, I don't understand why Major League Baseball is so horrifically stupid. When they have a whole week right now, this is the time of year. Again, I get the World Cup is happening, but these years are an outlier. The U.S. does not host the World Cup all the time. So this is an outlier. But this is your time of year. Basketball and hockey are done. Football has not started yet. This is your time of year. Why is it so hard to schedule these things efficiently in a way, all of these different events that you've brought together that can showcase your sport the best to your fans and potentially new fans, right? The whole purpose of the Future Stars game, even existing, is giving fans something to look forward to with their teams and their young stars. Why would you put it on at noon on a Sunday up against a full slate of Major League games, against the World Cup, against your own draft, and against a full slate of minor league games? Why would you do that? It just seems like there's such an easy way to go about this. That game should be Sunday night in prime time. Every game on All-Star Sunday ends in the afternoon. Put this on at 7 or 8 o'clock at night so the whole country and anybody around the world that wants to see it will be first focus. And then do the Home Run Derby, do the All-Star game, then do the draft on Wednesday.
And just do it. If you did it in the right way, you could probably get it as a throw-in with your Sunday night deal.
Yes.
Get it on NBC. Or at the very least, at worst, they would put it on Peacock, which, again, is not the same as NBC by a long shot, but does have like 40 million subscribers. It's a lot more people than you think.
Right.
But you could probably even get them to put it on NBC if you didn't make them pay anything more for it, and NBC's making pure profit. And you get this exposure, and some people would put it on just to put it on.
Yes.
And it would help with, it's one of the reasons that it drives me crazy that Rob Manfred mispronounced his own number one overall pick's name, because it would help bridge this divide that baseball always has more than other sports, and there's no way around it. It's not baseball's fault, which is the gap between the amateur game and the major leagues being as big as it is relative to a guy who gets drafted in the first round of the NFL draft, and he could be a Pro Bowler, or he could be an impactful player the very first year.
It's a fine skill sport versus a sport where your athleticism can carry more of it.
100%.
It's the biggest difference between baseball and hockey, basketball, and football.
But college baseball is coming into a golden era right now. And if Major League Baseball were strategic about it, they can leverage that to their benefit, because that's a group of people who are then inclined to watch futures games and keep watching the guys they've watched in the SEC and the ACC as they take the next step, even if it's not all the way to the pinnacle of the sport. And I think it's incumbent upon Major League Baseball to do a bit more to invest. They've done some, but to do a bit more to invest in their relationship with college baseball, and then try to create a little bit of a pipeline, not only for players, but for fans to be part of that process.
Totally agree. All right, you got 20 seconds. What's up on Sports Open Line?
We are going to talk Cardinals. We are going to talk World Cup. That's going to be the story for pretty much all three of these days.
That's a pretty good set of topics for 2 hours. I have fun, buddy. Good to see you. We'll see you again tomorrow. Nate Gatter is in for Matt Pauley, and Sports Open Line next on KMOX.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress. But one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceStoryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Soldiers Memorial Military Museum looks at American military history through the lens of St. Louis. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the galleries showcase stories of local service members and delve into the city's wartime history. Outside, the Court of Honors includes monuments to those who lost their lives in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Open Wednesday through Sunday. Admission is free. Find information about special exhibits at mohistory.org/memorial. That's mohistory.org/memorial.
Summer is officially here, and that means the family internet, it is working overtime. All our lives are always online, and that's why I rely on i3 broadband. Traditional cable just can't keep up, but i3 delivers 100% true fiber directly into my home for ultra smooth, reliable performance. Plus, they're a local provider that actually treats you like a neighbor. Skip the fake fiber. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 broadband is here for you.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Oh, we're still seeing delays. Pockets of IM eastbound on Highway 70 now. Making your way through Wright City. The earlier crash before Forestel is gone, but the delays remain. Working with, you're going to see some slowdowns westbound on Highway 70 this evening starting at 7 p.m. They're going to close one lane at David Hokel Parkway, so just one lane will be able to get through. That's due to the ongoing road construction project to widen Highway 70 across the state. So those delays and those lane closures will start at 7 o'clock tonight and last till 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. They'll open them back up at 2 o'clock and close them back down at 7 for the evening rush. So that's good news as they're working around the rush hour. It's still seeing delays southbound on Highway 55 south of M. Still dealing with this crash. There's a tow truck on the scene blocking that left lane on South 55. I'm Frank Led of the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Mississippi, the investigation continues into the death of Nolan Wells during a holiday boat trip to Horn Island. His friend, Trayston Shepard, now speaking out. ABC's Aaron Katursky is in Ocean Springs.
Shepard says he took a boat back from Horn Island in the late afternoon, but Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met.
They met that day, and it was kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they'd ever hung out was at Horn Island on July 4th.
Investigators believe Wells drowned and say there were no immediate signs of foul play.
The U.S. says it's carrying out a third day of strikes against Iranian targets. It follows an escalation in the region. Iran and the U.S. now reinstating blockades in the Strait of Hormuz. The sister of the late Senator Lindsey Graham, now appointed to serve out the remainder of his term. Senate colleagues today honoring Graham with speeches, his desk now draped in black with a vase of white flowers on top. This is ABC News.
Update on the flooding in Missouri. The National Guard now saying it rescued more than 300 people on Friday. We know it gets hot in July, but 100 in International Falls, Minnesota, up there on the U.S.-Canadian border. That's tomorrow's forecast. It would be the first 100-degree day there in 103 years. Extreme heat warnings stretch all the way west to Utah. People who vape are joining the elderly in being most at risk for Legionnaire's disease, says New York City Health Commissioner Dr. Alistair Martin.
And when you catch a case early of Legionnaire's disease, you can actually treat this fairly straightforwardly. And we're seeing that folks, when caught early, are making it through.
46 people who caught Legionnaire's disease on the Upper East Side of Manhattan are, many of them out of the hospital. No one has died. 180 cooling towers in New York City are being tested for the Legionella bacteria to see if that is what's making people sick across that part of Manhattan. I'm Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
At 6:02, we've got sunshine. It's 86 degrees downtown at the Arch. Mayor Kara Spencer signed a bill allocating the $250 million RAM settlement to North City, downtown, and infrastructure.
One of the criticisms of the bill funding North City was how susceptible previous city-led programs were to fraud, with the North City Business ARPA program being mentioned. Comptroller Donna Barringer says they will keep a close eye on all funds expensed with the RAM settlement money to make sure they actually go to those in need.
Our E&A secretary will maintain a public running total of the RAM settlement dollars that have been encumbered, giving residents a clear view of how these historic funds are being invested and ensuring taxpayers can follow these historic investments every step of the way.
Funds going towards the Water Division and North City are expected to be expensed quickly because their programs are up and running, while downtown will take longer, says Mayor Kara Spencer. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
As floodwaters begin to recede across parts of south central Missouri, emergency crews are shifting their focus from rescues to recovery. Public Safety Director Mark James tells MissouriNet the work is far from over.
There was a lot of damage to the public infrastructure, county roads, county low water bridges. The county officials, along with SEMA, are doing damage assessments. We'll see then if we qualify for federal assistance.
During the flooding Friday night to Saturday morning, the Missouri National Guard airlifted 202 campers and counselors from a camp near Lesterville in southeast Missouri. Ryan Benedict is the information specialist for Missouri Task Force 1. They went to Camp Tom Sauk, where people were completely cut off.
We had rescue specialists that paired up with the Army National Guard in their Black Hawk helicopters. They planted them in the campgrounds to start triaging and coordinating the response of the children and the counselors. And I mean, there was upwards of over 200 just right there in that one operation.
Former U.S. Senator Jim Talent served with Lindsey Graham in the Senate. He says the sudden death of the South Carolina Republican is being felt by politicians on both sides of the aisle.
He worked effectively with every president because he was very interested in foreign policy. He traveled a lot. And so he was an informal kind of behind the scenes, I don't want to say ambassador, but a line of communication to foreign leaders. He did that whether it was Trump or Obama.
Talent says Graham was authentic and likable, calling him a vivid personality known nationwide. St. Louis native and Archbishop Emeritus of New York, Cardinal Timothy Dolan, will return to his childhood parish this coming weekend to mark the 50th anniversary of his ordination as a priest. KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer.
Cardinal Dolan will celebrate the noon mass on Sunday at Holy Infant Parish in Baldwin, with a reception to follow. The 76-year-old cardinal grew up at Holy Infant and was ordained as a priest there in 1976. Last year, Cardinal Dolan submitted his resignation to the Pope when he turned 75 years old, per church law. He continues to live in New York, but says retirement means more trips back home.
I'll be able to spend some more time at home with my beloved nieces and nephews and my brothers and sisters.
Cardinal Dolan currently serves as co-chief chaplain of the New York City Police Department. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
At 6:05, let's get a check on the roads. Frank Ladd is in the traffic center. Frank.
Michael, they've got that vehicle on the tow truck now. That's the good news. Southbound on Highway 55, south of Highway M. That left shoulder is still blocked. Driver's still blocking, dodging out of that left lane. Make your way south of Highway M. So you've got delays, though, in that stretch, southbound on 55. Lingering delays as well, eastbound on Highway 70 this afternoon near Wright City. That earlier crash at Forestel is gone. And you're going to have some delays this evening and overnight, all the way through 2 o'clock this afternoon, starting at 7 o'clock this evening. The left lane at westbound Highway 70 at David Hochul Parkway will be closed. They'll open it back up for the afternoon rush hour tomorrow afternoon. I'm Frank Ladd in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Staples.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
We are in a nice, dry, quiet weather pattern for a change. Clear skies. Evening temperatures will be dropping out of the 80s, 69 for the low. On Tuesday, sunny skies, upper 80s to near 90 degrees in the afternoon. Humidity levels still okay on Tuesday. Tuesday night, clear and 72. Wednesday, sunny. An increase in the humidity as we go through the day on Wednesday, 91. Wednesday night, clear, 74. Thursday and Friday, sunny. It's kind of hot, though nothing extreme, but it's kind of hot, and it's more humid. Thursday and Friday, 93 for the high. Just a tiny chance of a spot thunderstorm each day. At this stage of the game, let's not worry about that. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
We've got sunshine downtown at the Arch. It's 86. Feels like 88. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Sports Open Line, All-Star Break. Sports Open Line on this Monday night. That means you get Nate Gatter instead of Matt Pauley. Matt is away. Well-deserved break for him, just as it is for the players and coaches. Well, almost all the players, I suppose. Not for Ivan Herrera, not for Jordan Walker, who will be in action in the Home Run Derby starting in just about an hour. But Matt is away. He'll be back on Friday. We appreciate you being with us. Kyle Sixta is running things here in our downtown studio. Nate Gatter in with you tonight and the next couple of nights as well. This evening, we will visit with Jacob Zersasimo from KMOV. We'll talk about the Cardinals, and maybe, if Kyle insists, we'll ask a tennis question or two with Wimbledon having just wrapped up, because Jacob is a tennis guy. Sam Dykstra will be with us to talk about MLB Draft. That'll be at 6:35, a little less than a half hour from now. And, I think this is – I tend to fill in on this show during the All-Star break because Matt takes the time off. And it always falls right around when the MLB draft is. And I think more than maybe anything else that we spend a lot of time talking about, MLB draft is the sort of topic where you just have to bring in the best guests that you possibly can. Because, look, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that I know every high school kid in America and how they play. That'd be pretty weird. I don't have time for that, right? I mean, so neither do you. There are a select few people who we trust to kind of canvass the entire country on these top high school players.
even the college players, they're just college baseball. It's just a big sport, right? And it doesn't get the same level of coverage. It's going up a lot, but it doesn't get the same treatment that football and basketball do by a long shot. Even the college players, we tend to need some insight on, and certainly on the high school players. So I think that having good guests is more critical than ever for MLB Draft, because it is a topic that we care about a lot here in St. Louis, especially because of how big a part of the story of the organization the farm system is right now, and figures to continue to be for the next couple of years, especially as this more veteran group of minor leaguers, if you will, the AA and AAA guys, get to the majors, as we talked about during Rush Hour in the last hour with Kevin Wheeler. You can go back and hear that on the free Odyssey app, AUDACY. You can also go to that Odyssey app to listen to us live, or to get in your voice messages that we can play on the air. If you'd rather call in, the number is 314-436-7900. That's 314-436-7900. You can call or text Kyle's personal number if you have it. You can tweet us at KMOX Sports. You can leave a comment on any of our streaming platforms, Facebook, X, YouTube, wherever you might be joining us. And we will get you involved in the show. We got some good comments as well during the last hour that we can still try to get to as we continue on. So we'll have Jacob and Sam here in this first hour. We will also visit with Bill McDermott talking World Cup, Mr. Soccer, with us in the second hour, right around 7:20. World Cup semis coming up these next couple of days. France and Spain, and then Argentina and England on Wednesday. So you can expect that we will have some World Cup conversation each of these 3 nights that I will be with you in place of Matt, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Also, a little bit of soccer conversation outside of that. We're going to try to do some Billiken soccer conversation, because they're about a month away from starting their season. The SLU men's and women's teams have Kevin Kalish and Katie Shields coming on the show the next couple of days. And that should be really fun conversation. The women in particular have scheduled themselves an absolute gauntlet in the non-conference. I think they have 5 Power 4 teams they're playing in the non-conference as they sort of try to overcome the Atlantic 10, if you will. I'm sure Katie Shields would not say it that way, but the A10 is not anywhere near good enough year in, year out to give the Billikens women's soccer team what they need in terms of competition. And so Coach Shields has done more and more in recent years of trying to go out and find those games in the non-conference. They've done a good job of it, and they're usually able to convince a couple of big-name programs. This year it's Alabama and one other to come to Herman Stadium. So, if you've got kids, or if you yourself just want to go and see some really, really high-quality Division I women's soccer, you're going to get a couple opportunities right out of the gate next month. So we'll talk plenty of soccer over these next few days as well. But baseball is going to be the topic du jour in this first hour. Covered a lot of ground during Rush Hour with Kevin Wheeler, and enjoyed that conversation. I think it'd be worth going back to. That was all Cardinals during that hour. Before we go any further, though, let's get to the expiring topic, if you will. It's only going to be relevant for this show and not for the coming shows, unless maybe he wins, which I did see St. Louis and Greg Amsinger picked him to do on MLB Network. Jordan Walker in the Home Run Derby tonight, first Cardinal in 4 years to participate in the Derby. Kyle Sixto, why don't we go through a quick analysis? You can take the general viewpoint. You can take the betting angle if you want, whatever you want to do on how you're looking at this Home Run Derby field and Jordan Walker's chances in it.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun tonight, Nate. I think the format change is going to make this a lot of fun. It's going to be different. It's going to be fresh. I think everyone was tired of the timed format. I mean, I know I was. It got to a point where it was just so rushed, and it might be too far the other way. I know the big complaint with it before was that people are taking too many pitches, and it takes too long. So maybe this is the middle ground that we've been looking for, and we're going to see it tonight. Maybe it's too long still, and more adjustments need to be made. Either way, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. In terms of who I think is going to win and Jordan Walker's odds, I think he's got as good of odds as almost anybody outside of Kyle Schwarber and maybe Junior Caminero, the top 2 who are favored. I mean, Jordan Walker, he's built for this. I mean, he's an absolute physical freak, This is a type of derby that he should just be able to wipe the floor with, I mean, he can hit the ball as far as anyone in this derby. He has the best bat speed outside of Junior Caminero. So, I mean, if he gets hot, I could see him going on a run and going pretty far in this thing. But, yeah, I mean, I think Schwarber and Caminero have to be probably the favorites. What are you thinking, Nate?
I am thinking that I hope everybody has fun, and I hope no one gets hurt, and I hope no one messes their swing up. I don't think that's, I mean, the data really says that that's not really a thing, and I think we've mostly skipped that news cycle, thankfully. It's a benefit of guys not announcing as early on. Now, Walker was one of the earlier announcements, but it's a benefit of the field not being announced as far in advance that we don't have to sit through as many cycles of, like, let's find something to talk about, and you know what we should do? Is it a good idea for this guy to be in the home run derby?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I assume a lot of times in his life, Jordan Walker has decided I want to hit this baseball as far as I possibly can right now. Swing mechanics be damned. So I'm just not concerned about it. I don't think that that's likely to define anything. So as long as everybody has fun and stays healthy, I'm good with it. I hope that I think it's great for Jordan Walker because regardless of what happens, I think it's cool that he is getting to be recognized as a star player in baseball.
Yep.
Because it's not easy. I know, like, look, nobody feels bad for guys who are making 7 figures to play Major League Baseball, and I get that, and I'm not saying you should. But it's not an easy thing from a human standpoint for a guy to come up to the major leagues under the kind of spotlight that Jordan Walker was and have the initial kind of success that he did that just stoked that flame and then really struggle the way that he did. I mean, you know, that I can't imagine what that's like to so publicly have such a downturn that if we were talking about this 6 months ago, we wouldn't have called it even a downturn. We would have just said he took a nosedive and that was it. The plane had crashed, right? It was over pretty much. And this was the last year of maybe you can salvage something for him and he turns into a decent everyday guy, or you can trade him and get something back, pennies on the dollar, whatever. To have him then put together the season that he has, I just am so happy for him because you know there must have been some really dark days for him in coping with everything that was going on. Nobody would have been putting more pressure on him than him. Nobody would have wanted him to succeed more than him. And now he's going to get, he is already getting, and this week he's going to really get a taste of what was foretold for him and what he probably was anticipating for a period of time. Not in an arrogant way, but just everybody was telling him this is coming. And so I'm really happy for him that he gets to experience that, and I have a hard time thinking it's a bad thing for him. It's just positive reinforcement for a guy who had to deal with negative reinforcement for a long time, who knows what that's like. And I think you don't have to worry, therefore, and I would say this about myself or anybody, it's not a Jordan Walker specific thing. This is anyone dealing with success. The fact that he has had to deal with so much failure and so much frustration and come out the other side positions him so well mentally to deal with this success now and to take it for what it is, which is a source of real encouragement and excitement for what's to come in his career rather than something that means he's already made it and it's over. And I think when you've gone through the kind of struggles that he has the last couple of years, this is true in any area of life, I think it positions you then to deal with success on the back end better than you might have been able to do on the front end. And I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him. I just have a really hard time thinking this is anything but a good thing for Jordan Walker's production the rest of this year and going forward, and what we hope is going to be a very, very productive Cardinals career. Jacob Sersasimo will be with us on the other side of the break, and then Sam Dykstra talking MLB draft after that. It's all to come. Gray Bar Sports Open Line continues on KMOX.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
It doesn't 4 kill majority rule?
Yep, creates minority rule, where just 5% of statewide voters in one district can block any citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass citizen-led ballot measures.
That's just dumb.
And when the politicians refuse to act, we've used citizen-led ballot measures to pass some big stuff, like lobbyist reforms, term limits for career politicians, and outlawing tax hikes without voter approval.
I'm not surrendering my power and rights to a bunch of politicians and lobbyists. I'm no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Paying 4 buttons or inch per care governance.
You take care of your dog out of love and responsibility. But what if every scoop that you're feeding them is slowly making them sicker? Not because you're a bad pet owner, but because the pet food industry never told you the truth. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon #1 best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. Dog food is dead food, stripped of every live nutrient that your dog needs. That's where Rough Greens comes in. Just sprinkle it on top of whatever you're already feeding them. It's packed with live probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, and over 20 live vitamins and minerals, all natural and made in the USA. Thousands of dog owners are watching their pets transform. More energy, shinier coat, better mobility, and your dog could be next. Take the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. Give us 90 days and we'll give you a healthier dog, guaranteed. Get a free Jumpstart trial bag for your dog today. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. Use discount code USA. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code USA. Rough Greens. So good, your dog will ask for it by name.
Work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck, taxed. Your property, taxed. Everything you buy, taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. If you're looking for a little kick in the pants when it comes to dropping a little weight, getting better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at supplement superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do and you do. You know, we all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all-day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it, I know I do, go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Retirement. Exciting in one way, scary in others. How do you find the financial advisor that covers all the bases? Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Proudly serving St. Louis for over 100 years. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Gray Bar Sports Open Line continues on KMOX. Nate Gatter with you in for Matt Pauley. And we're joined by Jacob Sersasimo of KMOV. You see him on Channel 4 and probably all over your social media covering St. Louis sports. And we're going to talk a little Cardinals, and if he's agreeable, maybe even a touch of tennis on the back end. Jacob, how do we feel about that?
Yeah, you know I'm always good to talk a little bit of tennis. I'll talk Wimbledon all day.
That's what I've been told. Before we get to that, let's go Cardinals, because I think on the whole, this was a disappointing final homestand coming into the break. In particular, that series against Milwaukee, to drop 4 of those games is disappointing. But if you're going to have a disappointing homestand, might as well finish it on a better note. And they did with 2 out of 3 against Atlanta, even if it was disappointing to lose the Sunday game when they were in position for a lot of that game to win it and get the sweep. But they got 2 out of 3, salvaged something from the homestand in general, go into the All-Star break still, sort of in the same mosh pit of teams around the wild card that they have been, even if now they're drifting toward the back of that pack rather than toward the front. How do you make not only the first half of the Cardinals season, but how do you look in particular at that homestand, maybe the last couple of weeks going into the break?
I think overall they're pretty happy with how the end of that went. I mean, they played the Braves, the Cubs, the Brewers, and the Braves. Like, those are 3 really good teams in 4 different series back to back to back. I think it was 14 games in 13 days. Of course, the Brewers lost. Like, Tuesday, to me, is kind of a wash because of the pitching situation that they were in. And I think Tuesday was a good reminder of where this team is in their development of a complete organization, right? Like, the Brewers aren't in a position to come into those 5 games in 4 days and have the bullpen to do it, have the power to do it and everything. But the Cardinals, frankly, with what they did with the Braves and then winning the Braves series and then winning the Cubs series and then coming into the Brewers series, that Tuesday was going to be difficult for them either way. But I go back to talking to Alec Burleson in the clubhouse last night, after that game on Sunday going into the break. And he mentioned, like, I'm pretty sure we had a winning record, which I'm counting it now. I think they were like 7-6 or it was 14 games, 7-7 maybe over those last 14 games in those 4 series. I think if you're telling them before those series, you're going to be 7-7 in this, they'd probably take it. I mean, there's a chance that they're under 500 in those 14 games. And the fact that they were able to go in, beat the Braves, beat the Cubs, and then beat the Braves again. I know you look at the Brewers series, but the Brewers are like 25 games above 500. You can't just look at that. You have to look at the thing as a whole. And I was pretty impressed with how they did over those last 4 series. And I'm not trying to be like glass half full, but it's just the reality of the situation.
Every time we come out of the All-Star break, we know we're into that last 2.5 weeks before the trade deadline, and that's going to be a central focus of the conversation for almost every single team, right? It's one of the unifying times of the Major League Baseball calendar because although you might be looking at it from different perspectives, the teams at the very top of baseball who are thinking World Series are talking about the trade deadline. The teams in the middle who are thinking, can we make a push for a wild card, are talking trade deadline. And the teams at the very bottom who forgot about the playoffs in spring training are talking about the trade deadline all the same, even though they have different perspectives across the board. And this is going to be sort of a tricky one because the Cardinals are very much in the playoff picture, even if at the moment they're not in a wild card spot and it's a very crowded National League wild card race. How do you think the Cardinals are going to approach the last couple weeks before the deadline, knowing that they sort of have a lot of factors to consider?
They really do have a lot of factors to consider. I think if you look at this team in January and February, and I feel like every time I come on KMOX, I'm referring back to January and February, but if you're looking at this squad thinking they're going to be in this position at the trade deadline, even right now at the All-Star break, 5 games above 500, with what seems to be a more optimistic outlook on this team rather than last year's team, even though they're about the same record on July 13th, fans would take it. And I don't know if there's a whole lot to do for this squad at the trade deadline. And I don't know if the position that they're in right now changes a lot of what they're going to do at the trade deadline either way. Now, if they were 20 games above 500 like the Brewers are, I could see them maybe considering something different. Or if they were 20 games below 500, I could see them also maybe reconsidering things. But this is a team that's exceeded expectations. I'm assuming they're going to want to keep the young core together on this squad. And Bill DeWitt Jr. said it during the press conference when they made the announcement about Anook and Bill III having those promotions, that the Cardinals under him have never been a team that is like a buyer or a seller for a rental at the deadline, and more so maybe a buyer than a seller, but they've never been one that's been a buyer for a rental for 2 months. Now, has there probably been instances? Yes, but that's not big picture what they're trying to do. The Cardinals are very aware of where they're at this season, but their big picture. And they've never strayed away this season when we've talked to Chaim Bloom or the front office of the big picture. So I really don't expect a whole lot to change from what they maybe thought they were going to do in January to what they do now. Now, if they were like in January thinking they could, if Jordan Walker wasn't playing very well, they could deal him at the trade deadline, and that's a total hypothetical. But I'm just saying, like, maybe those certain things have changed. But big picture, I don't think really a whole lot's changed with this team on what they want to do at the deadline because they're 5 games above 500.
Quickly, before we let you get out of here and turn your eyes toward Jordan Walker in the Home Run Derby, let's touch on Wimbledon. And rather than asking you an actual tennis question, I want to ask you something that I saw on social media today, which is that Alex de Minaur, the number 5 overall player in the world on the men's side, got married on the day of the Wimbledon final. What does it say about where tennis is right now that the top guys in the sport are so good relative to even the number 5 ranked player in the world that he would have felt comfortable scheduling his wedding on the day of the Wimbledon final?
Yeah, there's just not a lot of parity on the men's side. And I saw that as well. I don't know a whole lot about the situation, but Katie Boulter, who he married, is from Great Britain. Like, she's from the UK. So my thought is before they leave the UK for Wimbledon, they were going to do the wedding probably after they were done at Wimbledon anyway. It just so happens they were both out that weekend. I think if he would have made the final, it just would have been Monday or Tuesday. I can't imagine. I mean, they're 2 professional tennis players. I can't imagine they can't move their dates around wherever they want, considering Katie Boulter represents the country in like the Billie Jean King Cup and everything like that. But you're right. On the men's side, I talked about it in a podcast today. Like, there's just not a lot of parity on the men's side just because of how dominant Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz have been. And now with Alcaraz not there, Zverev has stepped right into that spot. On the women's side, Noskova wins it this year, Iga Swiatek the year before that, Krejcikova the year before that, and Vondrousova. Those are the 4 names over the last 4 years, and you're probably thinking maybe you might know who Iga Swiatek is through those 4 names because she's been number 1 in the world at a time for quite a bit, and she's a top player. But there's so much parity on the women's side, and right now the men's game is really lacking that. It feels like the early 2000s with Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal right now. But yeah, not a lot of parity on the men's side, and that's when you get guys scheduling events during the championship weekend because they know they're not playing in it.
And it's one of the funny things about sports, right? This is true in U.S. sports too. People say they want more parity and they don't want repetition with top players or top teams or whatever. And sometimes that can be true. But generally speaking, the television data tells us that that's not true, right? The NBA is the perfect example of this. The NFL to an extent as well. But the NBA during the Warriors-Cavaliers era, folks love to complain about how, we're getting the same matchup all over again. But boy, they really watched that stuff. They really watched when those guys would get into the final. So do you think, what is the balance for men's tennis? How much are they benefiting from having a big 2 in the way they've had a big 2 or a big 3 for much of our lifetimes? And how much are they hurting from not having as much parity as the women have?
I think in tennis more so than other sports, I do think they benefit from it because on the men's side, me walking down the street talking to any given person, they have no clue who Alex de Minaur is. They hardly know who Alexander Zverev is. They definitely know who Roger Federer is. They definitely know who Novak Djokovic is, and they definitely know who Rafael Nadal is. And now those fans are starting to be like, I've heard this Alcaraz name and this Sinner name, and I kind of know who those guys are. So if those guys are playing on Championship Sunday, the sports world has been telling them these 2 are like the second coming of Rafa and Roger and Novak. So these are the people to watch. So I actually don't think it necessarily hurts men's tennis when it comes to just getting average fans like it would maybe another sport, that there's not a whole lot of parity on the men's side right now because those 2 are so good, and when they play each other, they're so good. But when it comes to tennis fans, I think it is a negative for them because they know, why am I watching the first week or even the quarterfinals of a major when I know who's going to be in the final? So I don't think it necessarily hurts the brand as a whole simply because these are the names that everyone knows, and those are the names that everyone really actually wants to watch.
Jacob, we appreciate you. Thanks a lot for being with us.
Thanks, Nate. Have a good one.
Jacob Sersasimo of KMOV and Matrix Midwest joining us. Sam Dykstra will be with us talking MLB Draft right after this on KMOX.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering for Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Story, today, and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal, or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Story Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
If you're having a major project done at your house, it can be a long process. It can be kind of tedious or frustrating, and hopefully, though, when it's all done, you can stand back and look and think, oh my gosh, this is an incredible improvement. Sometimes it doesn't work that way, though, if you choose the wrong company. That's why I'm telling you that if you're thinking about a major project in your outdoor space, even a minor project, call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, because Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. They only use the highest quality products. They have their own installation crews with years of experience. That is extremely important. And Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been around for 58 years, a quality company, and they offer value. They're not going to be your cheapest bid, but they're going to be the best, and it's going to last for years to come, so you can stand back and think, money well spent. They'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing if you mention me, Debbie Monterey. Stop by and visit them, or visit them online right now at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Time to talk MLB Draft as Gray Bar Sports Open Line continues this evening on KMOX. Nate Gatter back with you in for Matt Pauley. Sam Dykstra is with us now, reporter and writer for MLB Pipeline. You can follow him on Twitter at Sam Dykstra, MILB. Sam, thank you so much for taking the time for us. I know you are very, very in demand at the moment, and we appreciate you being with us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's a busy week, but a fun week in the world of prospects and draft.
Of course, it was busy for the Cardinals, having 2 of the first 32 picks, 3 of the first 50. They opened up with Trevor Condon, high school outfielder, at number 13, and then went back to the Tennessee Volunteer pitching staff, where they took a couple of guys last year to get Tegan Kuhns at number 32 overall. Whether it's individual guys that you're looking at, or maybe it makes more sense to start in a theme kind of big picture way, because MLB draft classes, I think, can be overwhelming to fans, not only because they maybe haven't heard of some of or most of the guys being drafted, but also because there's just a high volume of players being selected. Is there anything with a Cardinals draft class that stands out to you as a kind of through line that you can say the Cardinals are prioritizing X, Y, and Z over A, B, and C?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think the one that's going to jump out if you look at our draft tracker is that there are only 2 high school picks in their entire draft. Of course, both of those picks, one was Trevor Kahn in their first one, and the other being Rocco Maniscalco out of Alabama, who they took with their second-round pick at 50. Everything else is college. I think part of that is reflective of the day and age that we are now. You know, if you get past the 5th round, you're probably not drafting a high schooler because they're probably going to college at that time. NIL money, there is other money waiting for them, and they can obviously improve their stock over the next 3 years. But it also says something about just the value that they were finding at the college level. And one thing that sticks out to me about the individual players is that there's something you can kind of tease out. You can see where the growth potential is. It isn't just about their current set of tools. It's what is that next step? And one thing that in my many conversations with the Cardinals, one thing that always pops out to me, at least over the last 2 years since the front office has changed over, is that player development is working hand in hand with the acquisition team, with the scouts, to say, okay, who is this guy and what can we do with him? It's not just the draft team taking players and then, okay, player development, go figure it out. They're working hand in hand. So they're selecting players that they think they can actually do something with here.
And I think that must be so exciting for Cardinals fans to hear, because that was the whole idea of Chaim Bloom having the kind of transition year in 2025 where he was part of the organization, but he wasn't making the day-to-day decisions running the operation. The buck was not stopping with him, such that he had the freedom to do more recon and travel around the organization and meet people and speak to people and get a sense of what the organization looked like top to bottom, where it needed work, where it needed fine-tuning, where it needed streamlining, in this case, maybe where it needed to improve its communication. And so it's great for Cardinals fans to hear that that's paying dividends already. Now, I think we saw it start to pay dividends even in last year's draft, but that now in the first full year of the Chaim Bloom era, that they're operating in a much more efficient way with everybody kind of rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, and one example I'll give here is the 72nd overall pick that they selected, Dawson Montesa, a right-hander out of West Virginia. He was a Division II talent a few years ago, and he transitioned to West Virginia this year for his junior year. He's only 20 years old, but Randy Flores, who's an exec, obviously, with the Cardinals, helps lead the draft. Here was the quote that he gave. When you look at the way the ball comes out of his hand, a little deeper analysis gave some conviction to our pitching development group that they had some levers that they could pull to get some better shapes out of him. Now, he's got, a pretty good fastball already. He's got some breaking balls that you can work with. But the fact that they thought, okay, we can make this curveball better that was already potentially an above-average pitch. We can get that slider to maybe above average to plus. That's a sign that everybody's rowing in the right direction.
It's such a funny thing, too, compared to any other professional sport or even other areas of business endeavor, right? Normally, we think about trying to draft or hire or recruit people who can help right now, people who are what we're looking for. Baseball is so much more about recruiting someone who isn't what you're looking for yet, but could become what you're looking for. And it's part of the reason it's such this weird nexus of art and science, right? Because it's one thing to get all the numbers. It's another thing to have somebody who has the expertise to look at those numbers and look at the actual tape and say, here is what we can turn those numbers and that tape into. And it's sort of an opaque process maybe from the outside, but such an interesting one, especially for somebody like you who gets to see it a little bit more on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big questions I always get, right, is like, oh, our organization needs a first baseman. Why didn't we draft a first baseman with our first overall pick? This isn't the NFL. This isn't the NBA. These guys are not going to be up immediately. What you want to be doing is drafting the best draft class, getting the best group of talent, regardless of position. If you like the player, take the player. Don't take, a third baseman just because you're a little light there, and then pass up on the second baseman who grows up to be, develops into an all-star in another organization just because you might be blocked at second base right now. Just take the best talents, and in the Cardinals' position here, take the best talents for you, the guys you think you can squeeze the most out of. Like one that I'm really interested in here is Caden Ferraro, an outfielder from Texas Tech, hit .374 after transferring from junior college. So I still think there's some growth potential there. He only had 1 year at a major program. It's really loud contact. If it's in the zone, he's going to hit it. but he's a 30 runner on the 20-80 scale, mostly DH with some first base / right field experience. And if you think he's going to be a right fielder, the average fan might be like, well, Jordan Walker's supposed to be here for the next half decade to much longer if they can work out an extension. Why are we taking Ferraro? Well, you'll figure that out eventually. It's a good problem to have if you have too many sluggers who fit the right field prototype, and obviously Joshua Baez is in the system too. Like, that's not going to stop them taking Ferraro if they like Ferraro, as they clearly showed by taking him in the third round.
It's funny that you bring up Jordan Walker in that conversation because he sort of personifies the point that you're making, which is that there was a time Cardinals fans were saying, why are we taking so many third basemen? We have a guy named Nolan Arenado who's headed to Cooperstown who's holding down third base. Why do we have this kid Jordan Walker? Why do we take this kid Nolan Gorman? They got to learn other positions, whatever. Now all of a sudden Jordan Walker's playing right field and Nolan Gorman is a Memphis Redbird, and you're looking at third base and saying we got nobody to play third base because obviously Arenado's out of town as well. So a lot can change in the 3, 4, 5 years it's going to take most of these guys to put themselves in the major league conversation. I want to touch on one other thing that you brought up that I hadn't even thought that much about. Sam Dykstra is with us on the phone, reporter and writer for MLB Pipeline. You can follow him on Twitter at Sam Dykstra, MILB. I certainly think the average fan hasn't in the MLB draft context. The NIL that is coming not only has taken over college football and basketball, but is now making an impact at the highest levels of college baseball, a sport that is growing hand over fist. That means outside of the money that's available to guys, as you said, in the first 5 rounds, where MLB teams are throwing around pretty serious signing bonuses, a lot of guys taking past that are saying, well, there's pretty good money available to me now in the SEC or in the ACC or in the Big 12 that was not available 5 or 10 years ago. How much have you seen that transform the entire draft process from start to finish in terms of just the dynamic between college, high school, and the MLB draft?
Yeah, I mean, not even from start to finish, to be honest with you, because we saw a lot of withdrawals from the draft before the draft even began. Because, from what I've heard from other reporting, collegiate teams were saying to players like, hey, this is where we stand right now. This is your offer for NIL. Take it or leave it before the draft. And if you accept it, you have to pull yourself out. So we saw a lot of players do that in the days before the draft, just took their name out of consideration altogether. There were some opportunities, I'm sure throughout the conversation. I mean, even looking at like the 20th round pick that the Cardinals made with Colin Ritchie, who's an outfielder for Oklahoma State. I bet part of the reason why he dropped to the 20th round, and he's already said he's going back to Stillwater, is because he's going to get paid a certain amount. Like once you started falling down draft boards, he's going to get paid to go back to school, and then he's going to be eligible again next year and get paid again as a pro. Now, it's going to be significantly less than what he could have gotten, but I'm guessing he's still going to get a pretty penny as a college performer for 1 year, and then he can still go into the pros and see how it goes from there. But, I'm sure the NIL offer was pretty hefty, and that's why he was telling teams, this is what you have to sign me for, and nobody agreed to do it. Cardinals took a swing in the 20th round, just you never know. But the fact that he's already going back is hardly a shock. College programs must just be loving that leverage, because for so long it feels like they have been just clinging to the wing of the plane while this entire process was going on, right? You're just hoping as a big name SEC program you don't lose 3, 4, 5 of your committed high schoolers to the MLB draft at any given year, and they were largely helpless bystanders in the entire process. They have a whole lot of agency now that they did not have before. Yeah, no, it's going to be, it's fascinating to see how college baseball has grown in the last few years, who's going, and obviously there's a CBA coming up this offseason, and who knows exactly at this point, right? Like there have been ideas floated and proposals sent out, and we still don't entirely know what the draft is going to look like moving forward from here. I like the way we work it right now with high schoolers having both routes to go, but, we'll see. But the fact that NIL is in there and it's not just like, oh, I really like going to UCLA or I really like Baton Rouge. Like I grew up wearing the purple and yellow. Like it's not that anymore. There is real hard money financial decisions to be made. Sam, we appreciate your time, especially at such a busy time in the calendar for you. Thanks a lot for being with us. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Sam Dykstra, reporter and writer for MLB Pipeline, joining us here on KMOX. You can go and follow him on Twitter for all his Cardinals and MLB draft and minor league baseball musings at Sam Dykstra, MILB.
Wrap up the first hour. When we get back, get ready to transition into a little bit of World Cup and more to come in our second hour here on KMOX.
You know, most sellers put their home on the market and they just wait to see what happens. Well, I'm Kevin Wheeler, and I'm here with Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one that I trust. That's Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world. Protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to Supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Laderman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs circumstances and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at ledermanlaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Wrapping up our first hour, Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Nate Gatter with you in for Matt Pauley. We appreciate Jacob Sersasimo and Sam Dykstra of KMOV and MLB Pipeline, respectively, for joining us to talk Cardinals and tennis in Jacob's case and Cardinals MLB draft stuff in Sam's case during this first hour. You can go back and hear that on the free Odyssey app in podcast form. You can also always be part of our show by commenting on any of our streams on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And we got a couple of comments even going back to the Redbird Rush Hour now an hour and a half ago or so. We hadn't been able to get to this comment, but Matt left a comment on YouTube asking, can the Cardinals actually afford Jordan Walker? Part of the math has to figure, what if he goes bust? Would they be able to absorb his expected contract and go get someone else? If it's a long-term deal, I think the answer is no. The Cardinals, at least in their current iteration under current ownership, to me, have made it pretty clear that they're not going to spend at a level required to just absorb the loss on a really big long-term contract that they miss on and just go sign somebody else and spend over the top of that and chase good money after bad. I think they're just going to wear the bad money. With that said, if it's a slightly shorter-term deal, like Jordan Walker has a couple of years of control left after this, if they were to do more like a 5-year deal, I think that mitigates their risk a little bit because they're not wearing it for a decade. The issue here, and it gets to a comment that we just got going into this break, Mariposa Edit says they can, I think he's answering Matt, they can, as he does not have a price tag that high yet, half a season of progress does not make a Juan Soto. We touched on this during Redbird Rush Hour. This is the very problem. I think that comment is right. Half a season of progress, which is selling him a little bit short, but half a season does not make a Juan Soto. I think that's right. But that's going to be the Cardinals' perspective. Jordan Walker's perspective is, why would I sell myself shorter than that, though? Because I believe in myself to do that for the rest of this year and for the next couple of years, and if I have to go into free agency still in my 20s and ready to get a $400, $500 million contract, because that would be the type of going rate you're talking about for a guy signing a 10-year deal who's still 27 or whatever Jordan Walker is going to be when he hits free agency. I think there's just a huge disconnect between the two parties probably right now that's unavoidable in negotiations. Talk about that a little bit when we get back to begin our second hour before we do some World Cup as well. A lot more to come here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by LensSeek.
Meta Platforms unveiled Muse Image, its first image generation model, and it uses AI reasoning to create videos from photos. The Facebook and Instagram parent says that Muse Image powers creative experiences on Instagram and WhatsApp and is coming soon to Facebook and Messenger. Investment bank Needham says Muse Image could boost user engagement and increase advertising opportunities for Meta. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Bill, that's a big smile for an old politician.
I'm thinking about our plan. It's slick enough to make a lobbyist blush. First, we hoodwink voters with Amendment 5. Tell them it's a tax cut. Once they're hooked, we decide who pays the higher taxes.
So it's not a tax cut plan, and we don't get a say?
Right, just swaps who pays the tax, but it does remove 3 voter-passed taxpayer constitutional protections. That lets us levy new taxes on services, increase sales taxes, and even tax home sales. And voters will no longer get to vote on tax hikes.
Higher sales taxes on groceries, gas, service taxes on doctor visits, childcare, and even rent on apartments. Geez. taxes could exceed 20%.
Sure, they figure that up to 80% of taxpayers will pay more taxes. Many, hundreds more. Seniors, they'll get hit even harder. But our big donors will cut a fat hog.
The ones getting butchered by Amendment 5 are most taxpayers. I'm voting no on 5.
Paid for by Missourians for fair taxation.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Stephanie Officer. Federal immigration agents involved in another deadly shooting, this time in Maine. A statement from the Maine Attorney General's office says agents were carrying out an enforcement operation and opened fire when the man tried running in their direction. Maine Congresswoman Shelley Pingree told ABC people are angry at ICE's use of lethal force.
People are extremely upset. This isn't what Maine wants to be. You know, we believe we have many immigrants and New Mainers who are friends, neighbors, they're working in our businesses, and we want to be supportive of them. We don't want them to be fearful that if they go outside, they're going to be arrested or shot.
A reinstalled blockade in the Strait of Hormuz by President Trump means gas prices are on their way back up. U.S. crude oil futures are trading around $78 a barrel. Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan suggests refilling sooner rather than later. He expects the national average gas price to hit $4 per gallon in the next 7 to 10 days, if not sooner, and diesel prices up to $5 a gallon. This is ABC News. The death of Senator Lindsey Graham at age 71 and the continued absence of Senator Mitch McConnell at 84 is calling attention to the average age of lawmakers.
Never in history has Congress been this old. The U.S. Constitution sets the minimum age requirement to be in the Senate at 30 and the House at 25. It does not set a maximum. The average age of the current Senate is 64. Half the members are over 65. The oldest, Chuck Grassley in Iowa, 92. The youngest, John Ossoff of Georgia, 39. Average age in the House has soared from under 50 in the early 1980s to 58. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
Jay-Z's final concert at Yankee Stadium was delayed for several hours last night after hundreds without tickets rushed the door to get in.
Really sorry for the inconvenience, but I have to make sure everybody's okay.
Jay thanked the crowd for their patience and promised a good time. This morning's show included surprise appearances from Rihanna, Jadakiss, and Swiss Beats. I'm Stephanie Officer, ABC News.
At 7:02, it's a sunny sky downtown at the Arch, 84 degrees. Mayor Kara Spencer has signed the Rams settlement bill into law, allocating the $250 million to North City, downtown, and citywide infrastructure improvements. Mayor Spencer says the funds going to the Water Division will be hard to see, but will move quickly.
The Water Department has shovel-ready projects that are ready to go. I mean, the Water Department has identified some key areas of much-needed investment.
Spencer says North City funding will move quickly, especially for tornado relief, with many of those programs already established. Downtown, she says, will be deliberately longer as the city plans to work in conjunction with the private sector. You may have seen the video of the Missouri National Guard airlifting campers near Lesterville during this weekend's floods. Public Safety Director Mark James says 8 Black Hawk helicopters that were already in the area for training proved critical to the rescue effort.
So when I reached out to General Hausman and said, by chance, would you have any Black Hawks available? He responded very quickly and said, Actually, we do, which I view that a little bit as an act of God, frankly, because normally that would not have been a resource available to us.
Governor Kehoe declared a state of emergency Friday after 6 to 12 inches of rain fell in parts of Iron and Reynolds counties. Less than a month out from the August primaries, a former congresswoman is attempting to contrast her disaster response from her successors.
Former Congresswoman Cori Bush is arguing incumbent Wesley Bell has not lived up to his campaign promise of being a more effective legislator than her, especially when it comes to tornado relief. She contrasts the lack of a community development block grant for disaster relief following the May tornado with the $110 million the city received after the flood of 2022.
It was because I didn't allow people to tell me no. I know that the money was supposed to be for one area for our disaster recovery, but I called everybody. I called every federal agency I could. That's how you do it.
Bush adds it is not a valid excuse that in 2022, Democrats controlled the House, Senate, and the White House, compared to now when Republicans control all three. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
In a statement to KMOX in response, a spokesperson for Bell said, quote, St. Louis has not received the relief it should have because of one person, Donald Trump, end quote. Missouri Governor Kehoe signed 6 new health care bills into law today. The package focuses heavily on expanding patient access. It boosts telehealth options and lets out-of-state medical professionals practice in Missouri more easily. Officials say this will bring much-needed care to the state's rural communities. Forecast overnight tonight, clear sky, low 69 degrees. For tomorrow, sunshine, high 90. Clear sky Tuesday night, low 72. Getting to the midweek, an increase in humidity. Sunshine, high 91. And for Thursday and Friday, sunshine, it's going to be hotter and also more humid. And we could see a pop storm or two and a high of 93 degrees those days. Right now, downtown at the Arch, we've got sunshine. It's 84. The feels like is 86. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Nate Gatter in for Matt Pauley this evening. We got an hour to go on Gray Bar KMOX Sports Open Line. Thanks so much for being with us. We heard from Jacob Sersasimo of KMOV and Sam Dykstra of MLB Pipeline. In our first hour, we'll be joined by Mr. Soccer, Bill McDermott, coming up in just about 15 minutes here in our second hour. And we'll talk about the World Cup with Bill and getting ready for the semifinals of the World Cup the next couple of days. France and Spain tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Time, and then Argentina and England at 2 o'clock Central on Wednesday. And I'm lining up a little special treat for us for tomorrow night. Simon Rose, Englishman himself, who covers Mizzou women's soccer with me on SEC Network, will be joining us. He also hosts a morning radio show in Columbia, Missouri, and he will be joining us to discuss the World Cup at large and his Englishman in the semifinals on Wednesday against Lionel Messi and Argentina. But going into the end of the first hour, we were talking about the Cardinals and specifically about Jordan Walker and what an extension would look like. Before we even talk about numbers, I think what's more important is to understand that where the two entities are positioned right now, where the Cardinals are relative to Jordan Walker, after what we're looking at here, this is just an extremely unusual situation. J.J. Weatherholt, for example, who just signed that 8-year extension for north of $110 million guaranteed, is your prototypical example of a highly touted prospect who had success at every level, made it to the majors, had success in the majors for the first half of season, and now is getting a contract extension that rewards that success and the fact that he has met or exceeded expectations at every step along the way. Jordan Walker had a similar story. Highly touted prospect, successful on his way up to the majors, and a successful rookie season. And then he had this extreme swoon for multiple years. And now he has emerged from that, playing at a higher level than he ever has in his career by quite a wide margin. More than 20 home runs already this year. The major league leader in RBIs, hitting better than 290. He is putting together not just an all-star season, but a cream of the crop all-star season. So the issue here is that both sides have something really strong they can point to as to why the number should be higher or the number should be lower. There are not enough agreed-upon touchstones in the negotiation. This is true at any time that two human beings have a disagreement or a dispute or are negotiating to a compromise. The fast track to agreement is to have as many things upon which you can agree as possible and establish those clearly. You want to isolate the areas of disagreement so that you can focus attention on those and resolve them. Think of it like this. If you were having a debate with your 4-year-old on whether it was bedtime or not, it's important to establish that both of you understand what time zone we're in and you both appreciate the time of day. Because if one of you is saying, well, it's 8:30, and the other person is saying, no, it's 5:30, well, how are you supposed to possibly determine whether it's bedtime or not if you can't even agree what time it is? We haven't even gotten to the bed part. We're just stuck on the time part, right? So that's the issue here, is that Jordan Walker is going to have every right to say, look at the player that I've been in 2026. That player is worth $400 million or more on the open market, signing a long-term contract extension. And he's going to be right about that. The Cardinals are going to say, look at the player that you were. They're not going to say it in these words, but they're going to say, look at the player you were the last couple of years. That guy's not worth anything on the open market. That guy's headed to AAA on the open market. How are we having to pony up $400 million here? And I don't think Jordan Walker's asking for $400 million. This is just for the sake of argument. And the Cardinals are also right. They're saying if we're paying you as the player you've been so far in 2026, we're taking on 100% of the risk here. We're paying you at what seems to be your ceiling. If this isn't Jordan Walker's ceiling, his ceiling is damn high because it's pretty good already. If we assume this is more or less Jordan Walker's ceiling, which is fine, but if we assume this is him, even if it's his true level, if we just assume this is his top level, the Cardinals are saying, well, we're paying for you at your absolute best. So we've got all the risk that you might regress and very little to no upside. Jordan Walker is saying, this is who I am. Maybe I can even get better. I don't want to take on or give up all of my upside financially by agreeing to something less than the player that I am, the value that I'm displaying this year right now. And so I think it's just impossible at this point. I think there needs to be a bigger sample size, at which point the answer becomes clear. The only way that I could see a compromise is if, and I have no way to know if this is true, but if Jordan Walker were open to taking something slightly shorter term, where the Cardinals were going to do like a 4 to 6 year contract, where they're buying out a couple of years of control and then 3 to 4 years of free agency, I could see the Cardinals being willing to, in their minds, quote unquote, overpay. Essentially say, we're paying for you at 2026 production levels, because the worst case scenario there where he regresses doesn't hurt them as much, because for the next couple of years for sure, and maybe even for a couple of years after that, they're going to have a lot of financial flexibility. And so paying Jordan Walker $30 million a year in those years to produce at a $15 million level or a $10 million level will not be catastrophic to the organization. Whereas if they give him $30 million, let alone $35 or $40 million on a deal that stretches for a decade, well, now you're talking about a situation where in the early to mid 2030s, they might have run out of the financial flexibility we project for them in the next half decade, and be in a situation where Jordan Walker's $30 to $40 million a year is really restricting what they can do financially. So I think at this stage, unless there was some kind of intermediate deal somewhere in that 5-year neighborhood, I just don't think Jordan Walker has a strong enough incentive to take anything less than 2026 production money. And if he did, by the way, I said this briefly during rush hour, if Jordan Walker's agent called up the Cardinals and said, hey, Jordan would love to do an 8-year extension at $200 million, I would hang up the phone as Chaim Bloom and I'd say, we need an emergency meeting, because Jordan Walker thinks he's hitting a wall. He doesn't think he's going to be able to keep playing at this level. He's looking to take a lot less than what he should be looking for right now, because he thinks this is a flash in the pan. He's not confident in himself to sustain it, and we need to figure out what this means and what we should do with that information. I'm sure that's not happening, but if it did, I wouldn't be singing and dancing in the streets. That would be a little bit concerning too. He should be pushing for every dollar, because I want my star player thinking, I'm just scratching the surface maybe. Come back next year, I'm going to be hitting 320 with 55 homers. Get ready for that. You guys should pay me now, because I'm going to make your wallets hurt next year. You know, I would love for him to have that mindset. He should be trying to take the Cardinals for every cent he possibly can, because that indicates the confidence that he has in himself going forward to continue producing at this level or even better. And that's exactly the mindset you want in the middle of the batting order for the next decade. So in this position, I think there's nothing to do probably but play out the rest of this year and probably even play a significant chunk of next year. The question then is, if Walker keeps producing at or above this level for at least another calendar year or all the way to the end of next season, and let's assume for the sake of argument that the general payroll picture in Major League Baseball is more or less the same as it is now, which is a significant assumption because, as we've talked about at times, the work stoppage that is likely in this offseason and might bleed into next year and the resulting new CBA, I think there's going to be a lot of tumult between now and then. And it would surprise me as a result if you don't have a CBA that looks quite a bit different next year than the one that exists right now. I don't think that a cap and floor system of some kind is out of the question as soon as next year. Obviously, there would be a grandfathering period, but I think that is on the table because of how aggressively the league has made it a priority with that opening offer, how much they were willing to give up from the very beginning. I'm not saying it was a perfect offer or anything like that, but I think it was it demonstrated a much more feasible starting point to me than I anticipated. But let's say, for the sake of argument, the financial picture of Major League Baseball is mostly the same. If that's the case, the Cardinals need to be comfortable with the fact that Jordan Walker playing at this level for another year and a half is going to be enormously expensive for them to extend. I think they still would be because, again, they're going to have so much money free and available, so much discretionary income, if you will, these next few years. As much as it would be great for the Cardinals to chase the J.J. Weatherhold extension with an even bigger Jordan Walker extension, I'm struggling to see why anybody has the incentive. And you can do this yourself, especially if you're honest intellectually. Game it out. Put yourself in the Cardinals' shoes. Put yourself in Jordan Walker or Jordan Walker's agent's shoes. What are you looking for and why? And I think they're just too different in how they're evaluating the player and his value at this stage because they both have such opposite incentives and because there is so much up in the air about how good he really is. There is no debate about how good he has been this year. There's also no real debate about how lousy he was for a couple of years before that. That doesn't take away from what his value could be going forward, right? You're not paying him for past production in this case. You're paying him for projected production. I don't care. He could have hit a 050 for 2 years. If he turns around and plays at an MVP level for the next 8 years, you want him. There's no penalty in 2030 for the hitter that you were in 2025. Nobody cares, right? It's about tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So I'm not saying you take anything away from Jordan Walker going forward if you think that's the player he's going to be. He's just a tricky player to project as a result of the sort of odd professional career that he's had. And I think for that reason, there's probably just too wide a gap right now. But the Cardinals, I don't think that means that it can't get done. And there is a decent chance that that if we're talking about this a year ago, that Jordan Walker settles down a little bit and the OPS comes down 50 to 100 points next year. And we're saying, good thing the Cardinals didn't spend $300 million, right? Not because they won't still want to keep him, but just because he'll be at a different price point if it becomes clear that this was Jordan Walker for a few months and it's not Jordan Walker in perpetuity going forward. Hopefully that makes sense. But it's why I'm not worried about the fact that extension, you're not hearing anything about it. I mean, obviously also the Cardinals have control for quite a while. I don't see a lot of incentive for Jordan Walker to lower his price at this stage, and I anticipate that will remain the case at least for the foreseeable future. We'll take a break, talk a little World Cup with Mr. Soccer Bill McDermott after this on KMOX.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Welcome to Willie's Wings, home of the secret sauce.
I'll take a dozen wings. Oh, by the way, I love that sauce. What's in it?
Can't tell you.
Why not?
It's a secret.
While many financial advisors claim to have the secret sauce, they don't. In fact, if their sauce is so good, why are they keeping it a secret? Steve All of the All Financial Group doesn't keep anything a secret. He knows there's much more to retirement planning than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. He'll develop a strategy designed specifically for you. It's your own secret sauce for retirement. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824 for your personal portfolio x-ray. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Fine, you want to know what's in the sauce?
Absolutely.
Tablespoon of paprika.
Really?
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Industrial automation is complex, but navigating it doesn't have to be. Like a trusted trail guide, Graybar's automation specialists help organizations reduce uncertainty, mitigate risk, and plan their next steps. From evaluating existing systems to connecting you with trusted technologies and business partners, we help future-proof your automation so your team can operate with confidence, today and tomorrow. Yep, Graybar does that.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
A century strong. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
It's World Cup semifinal time. Starting tomorrow, France against Spain, and then England against Argentina on Wednesday, the final a week from yesterday, Sunday the 19th at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And Mr. Soccer Bill McDermott is with us on KMOX to discuss all things World Cup. Bill, how you doing?
Fine, Nate. How are you?
I'm good. You know, one of the things that we talked about last time you and I visited on these airwaves before the tournament was all the negative PR that FIFA was getting, much of it well-deserved, coming into the tournament. And we both said it has been a black cloud over the preparations, and it's part of the reason the buzz isn't where it should be. And I hope it doesn't hang over the tournament. We both thought it probably wouldn't, but it was just not great vibes going in. My goodness, have those clouds dissipated. And, you know, maybe that's somewhat of a bad thing because it encourages FIFA's bad behavior for the future because they get away with it. But, man, the tournament has just been so good, and the vibes of the tournament have been so good after so much of that conversation leading in was kind of, is this good for the sport? All the gouging, all the greed, all of these things. And in the end, we've had a beautiful, wonderful tournament that has been more popular in the United States than any soccer event ever before.
Without any question, Nate. We thought that in 1994, the average attendance being 68,991, 3.5 million total. Well, now already this World Cup has surpassed 5 million people. And as you just pointed out, the optics prior to the World Cup were pretty harsh. As a matter of fact, awfully harsh, as a matter of fact. But then we also talked about the fact, Nate, that during every World Cup, when things of that nature do transpire, once the games start, they seem to vanish. And that is what happened. The overall quality of the World Cup and of the teams, and we end up getting the first, second, third, and fourth ranked teams in the semifinals. It does not get any better than that.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit, to make the American sports comparison, like a March Madness where the number one seeds all make it to the Final Four. Not to say there hasn't been chaos in this World Cup, because there has been, and there's been plenty of entertainment and plenty of upsets and near upsets, and some of those minnow countries that wouldn't have qualified in a 32-team field but did in the first 48-team field have made themselves heard. There is no doubt about that. But nonetheless, we do end up in a place where most folks would have predicted, or at least would have said was the most likely outcome, which is France, Spain, Argentina, and England as the last four standing.
You know, and these teams, boy, they go way back. In particular, the second semifinal tomorrow, there is a long history between England and Argentina, majority of which is tremendously negative. They first played each other in 1962. England wins that game. That was in Chile. 1966, they play in England when England won their lone World Cup. Antonio Ratin for Argentina was sent off. It took about a half hour to take care of all the nonsense that was going on then. The Falkland Wars takes place. In 1986, in Mexico, Maradona knocks one in with his hand and then makes an unbelievable run. 1998, a game I had the fortune to do, David Beckham is sent off. And then you look at France. France has indeed played Spain. That was the 2006 World Cup in Germany, and that's when France was really loaded with Zinedine Zidane, Frank Ribery, Patrick Vieira. They ended up winning 3-1. But these teams coming into these final two games, I think without question, these are the best four teams in this year's World Cup.
And one of the other things I wanted to touch on, and we kind of fast-forwarded to the semifinals, is the fact that this was a 48-team World Cup instead of 32. On the one hand, I think there were times during the group stage when that watered it down a little bit for me, especially when we got to the third group games, when the combination of having some not-so-competitive nations and going to head-to-head instead of goal difference as the primary tiebreaker meant that we had a fair number of dead rubber games, meaning meaningless third group games relative to past years. On the other hand, though, although it would be easy to criticize, we also got to see the Cape Verdes of the world go toe-to-toe with Spain and Argentina and more than hold their own. And you know, we had other stories like that as well from countries that would not have been in the field otherwise. So I have a hard time thinking that in the aggregate it wasn't worth it to expand.
Precisely, Nate, and that's why there was 48 teams this year. A dramatic change, tri-hosted, if you will, if indeed that's a word. But you talk about Cape Verde, the smallest country to earn a knockout stage. They're off the coast of Africa that no one knew about them. They get into the World Cup. There's just 530,000 people. Vozinha is a worldwide sensation. He's got 16 million Instagram followers. But their theme was small islands, big dreams. And the islands in the Atlantic, well, they took some of the soccer, I think, from their neighboring African countries, Senegal, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast. So every team now that is getting into the World Cup has a little piece of possibility, indeed a possibility. And that's why there were 48 teams picked for this particular World Cup, and also picked in the United States, where the venues are huge. And I said a moment ago, it's going to well beyond the 68,991 in 1994.
Bill, does that mean that Vizina is closing in on your Instagram follower count? Are you sweating a little bit?
Well, he was out of his mind in a couple of different games, and he really caught the fancy of the fans. And every World Cup has a story like this, Nate, dating back to 1930. You can get one or two sentences that really describe a World Cup. You go 86, case in point, Maradona. 90, Germany wins a boring World Cup. 94, Brazil wins a World Cup with Romario and Bebeto. 98, France wins at home. So there's one or two sentences that describe World Cups that things happened. At this particular World Cup, as we started our conversation, so many things prior to the World Cup were of a negative fashion, but that's all worked out. The people, for instance, the people in Kansas City, the Dutch fans in Kansas City, there were tens of thousands of them, and they literally took over the downtown area in Kansas City and absolutely rocked Arrowhead Stadium.
Mr. Soccer Bill McDermott is with us. And Bill, I could talk to you about this all day, but I don't want to take your entire evening. So let me get to two more things that we have to touch on. The first is the U.S. men's national team and their performance on the whole, which I think, we talked about it going in, and my feeling was if they went out round of 32 or earlier, that would be a disappointment. If they could reach the quarterfinals or beyond, that would be a smashing success. And round of 16 was sort of the equilibrium point where you could say pretty good, not great, but certainly not bad. And I think that's fair. They had some very high highs. The Paraguay 4-1 was delightful and only looked better as the tournament went on, and Paraguay knocked out Germany. The Bosnia win, I thought, was pretty convincing for the most part and inspired a lot of optimism. I'll be the first to raise my hand and say I thought the U.S. would beat Belgium, and I thought it would be relatively comfortable for them. That could not have been more wrong. They were leveled against Belgium. I was shocked by how comprehensively they were beaten. So it's hard to know how much to take away the sweetness of the couple of top performances the U.S. had on home soil in front of great crowds, and how much to ultimately be left with the bitterness of what was a tragically disappointing final performance.
Well, as you find out, in particular for the Belgium game, Nate, the U.S., they've always had the potential, but no one feared the U.S. as a soccer-playing country. And that's indeed what happened against Belgium. They all, at one time, picked a game to have a horrid performance. Everything that they had done of a positive nature in the opening games of the tournament, none of it was there. The forwards weren't playing together for each other. The midfielders were getting beat on a regular basis. People in the back, the center backs, weren't having a good game. And Matt Freese, well, he had a particular nightmare on one goal. But the U.S., along with improving, they have improved. They've been, in essence, trying to make soccer a part of the United States sporting culture. Everywhere else, it is the culture. So as the United States continues to improve in this sport, in the World Cup, so also does the other nations. And they do indeed pretty much have a head start.
Bill, the last thing.
Sure.
We're down to the semifinals now. We've been waiting for this. Now get your popcorn for the 4 number 1 seeds, if you will. The top 4 teams in the world. France and Spain tomorrow. England and Argentina on Wednesday. Walk me through what you're anticipating in these games, how you see these remaining 3 games in the World Cup going, and why.
Well, I think that France is awfully powerful. I do not think they could be defeated even by a wonderful team like Spain. And one thing that's going to hurt Spain, Nate, is that Nico Williams may not be able to play the entire 90 minutes. Now, he's on the left wing. Lamine Yamal is on the right wing. Having to look after both of them is a real nightmare for anywhere. But France with Dembele, Desiree Doué, Kylian Mbappe, they have been powerful. And Mbappe is proving that he is the best player in the world right now simply because of what he's doing with his explosive speed in a tight space. England, Argentina, we talked about the history between these two countries dating back to, in particular, 66 at Wembley Stadium. I think that somehow, some way, Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham, who's had a fabulous World Cup, is going to somehow get a victory for England. They haven't won a World Cup since 1966, and I think they're going to neutralize Messi. I may be totally off base here, but I think it's time for England to get to dramatically turn things around, and I think they're going to be able to do that against Argentina this year.
I wonder at this moment if the tournament ended right now. Thankfully, it doesn't. But if the tournament ended right now, I think I would have a hard time giving player of the tournament to anyone but Jude Bellingham. What do you think?
Likewise, I totally agree. And he's wearing number 10 for England this year. The people at Real Madrid would like to see him play like that for Real Madrid, and that is taking over the games. He is what Bobby Charlton has said, Nate, is the definition of a great player. And by that, Charlton always meant one who at any time during the course of any game can alter its outcome. And that's precisely what he's been doing. He's running at people. He's making himself available in the penalty area. He's getting forward on a regular basis. He's finding people on the flanks. And hopefully, Declan Rice can get back in the first 11 for England. So I think that just somehow, some way, they're going to pull this off against Argentina. I may be really, really daydreaming here on this, but I think for some unbelievable reason, they might pull it off.
Tell you what, this is an England team that found a way at the Azteca, that came from behind against a very, very good Norway side. England feels to me like a country at the World Cup that relies more on vibes than any other country, mostly because they are so prone to ending up in a situation where it feels like their entire country is rooting against them because they're so angry with them. And what it feels like the Azteca, although that was painfully unfair to England as a group winner to have to play in the round of 16 against Mexico at the Azteca. I mean, just a brutal draw. I wonder if it wasn't a great thing for them, because what it did is get everybody, and I don't use the rowing analogy, I don't mean it as a pun with the fact that they played Norway in the next round, but it got the entire country rowing in the same direction, which pretty much when it comes to English soccer never happens. But they are all going in the same direction right now. They're all pulling as one, and it feels like when they do that, they are a different England than we see any other time.
It sure seems to be that way, Nate, and to bring up what you just spoke about with Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane and some of their players on the flanks, in particular Saka. Saka's playing much better. He's taking people on. He's getting balls over into the penalty area. And I think that they are equipped. I think they're handsomely equipped to be able to pull this off this year. But you're 100% right. The English fans, as an overall group, are tremendously pessimistic about the national team. But for some reason, first of all, you don't want them to get into penalty kicks. They have a horrid record in penalty kicks. So if they do indeed pull this off, you want to see it happen in regular time.
It's a great point. We appreciate you, Bill. As always, I'm sure we'll have you back on at either between the semifinals and the final or after the final to talk about it more.
Sounds good, Nate. Thank you.
Bill McDermott, Mr. Soccer, joining us here on KMOX. More after this.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
You know, I'm always talking about taking care of everybody else. The kids, the family, the job, the house, the calendar. But today, I want to talk about you taking care of you. Because if you don't take care of you, who's going to take care of them? What if you could better understand your risk for chronic disease before symptoms begin? Simon Cancer Center has a tool called Your Disease Risk, and it does just that. It helps you get a better understanding of your risk for chronic disease and cancer before symptoms even start. It looks at things like lifestyle, family history, everyday habits, nutrition, physical activity, tobacco use, sleep, and screenings, because your health story is shaped by more than just genetics. And knowledge is powerful. When you know your risk, you can make better choices, ask better questions, and the ability to take actions early. Listen, it only takes a few minutes, but it can help guide decisions that matter for years to come. Prevention starts with awareness, and awareness starts with you. Visit sitemont.washu.edu/YDR and take the Your Disease Risk Assessment today. Just a few minutes a day could make a difference for years to come. That website again is sitemont.washu.edu/YDR.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. This is a great time to schedule those tuck pointing repairs. When you're out in the yard or on your patio, take a look over your brick, your stone, and your mortar joints on your walls, your chimney, your walkways, and your retaining walls. If they need repair, Morelli Tuck Pointing would love to help. It's a good idea to do that home maintenance before leaks are created or rebuilding is necessary. I've used
weight, get in better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at supplement superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do and you do. You know, we all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, you get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all-day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it, I know I do, go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust, allergens, and whatever winter left behind in your vents. Your air ducts are the lungs of your home, and if they're dirty, you're breathing it in every single day. This month only, get your air ducts clean starting at just $599 per unit. That's cleaner air, better efficiency, and a fresher home guaranteed. Call 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Ask for the DGS special, ZeroResSTL.com.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
We began this Gray Bar Sports Open line, and during the hour prior on Redbird Rush Hour with Kevin Wheeler, talking about the Home Run Derby tonight and the new Home Run Derby format, and getting producer Kyle Sixtus' take on exactly how that was going to look, how he thought it was going to look. Nate Gatter back with you in for Matt Pauley this evening and the next couple of nights during the All-Star break. Jordan Walker just hit second in the Home Run Derby after former Cardinal Wilson Contreras. Both of them hit 13 home runs on 20 swings. If you're unfamiliar with the changes to the format, the timer has gone away. Timeouts are gone. Taken pitches are back, at least a little bit. We are not seeing a tremendous number of taken pitches so far in the first couple of rounds, but it's replaced by 20 swings no matter what happens. So we're in a new system now, not the outs that you might remember from a way back, not the timer that you remember from more recent years, but going to 20 swings with a one caveat that if you hit a home run on your 20th swing, you get to keep going until you swing and do not hit a home run. But essentially, 20 swings, hit as many homers as you can. Both Wilson Contreras and Jordan Walker have hit 13 home runs, 13 apiece on their 20 swings. Kyle, you've been watching these first couple of batters. Based on what you've seen, how are you feeling about the new format?
It's been a lot of fun so far. I feel like it's moving along at a pretty good pace. We already have 2 hitters down. The 20 swings, I feel like, is a good middle ground. And as we get into these next couple rounds, I believe it goes down to 15. So I feel like that'll go by even quicker. I feel like it's a good pace. I'm sure they didn't want these guys up there forever, taking a million pitches, and we haven't seen that. So I think it's been a good pace. We're able to admire the moonshots that these guys are hitting. Wilson Contreras hit one 490. I believe Walker's longest was 470. This has been a lot of fun to watch. I'm loving the changes so far.
Wilson Contreras, I think, exceeding expectations. He
Absolutely.
was easily the betting long shot coming in, and understandably so. Not exactly a pure power type of guy, although having a very, very good season in Boston, as is Sonny Gray, a couple of former Cardinals excelling for what has otherwise been an extremely disappointing Red Sox team, which has one other St. Louis connection with Caleb Durbin, former Washington University Bear, playing third base as well after they acquired him from the Brewers. He had a really disappointing start to the season, really struggled early on, but has found a bit of a groove as the year has gone on. But Contreras, I think, may be inspiring some raised eyebrows with that early round. Not only 13 homers, but again, hitting for the high watermark power as well with the longest home run of 490 feet. And the other thing is, it's not that Wilson Contreras isn't a big and sturdy guy, but relative to some of the other guys in the competition, he has neither a tremendously large frame nor an especially violent swing, which probably lends itself well, because you could see during Jordan Walker's round, I thought, him wear out a little bit, which is not surprising because he's just a big dude who's having to move a decent amount of muscle around when he takes a swing. And again, not that Wilson Contreras is slight of frame by any stretch, but compared to Jordan Walker, compared to Kyle Schwarber, not having to move quite as much around, even compared to somebody like Bryce Harper, there's not quite as much violence in the swing either. So you'd have to think Contreras is one of those guys who's maybe just kind of, to use the golf term, kind of dropping and turning a little bit, and might be able to swing a little bit more before he wears down.
Let me tell you, that's exactly what he was doing. I do think Wilson was getting a bit violent in that first round. He was swinging as hard as he could every single swing, where Walker was the exact opposite. He was up there, he was taking the deep breath in between every pitch, and it looked just so easy. I think you said that he was just flicking his wrist. That's exactly what he was doing. It looked like no effort for Walker, which kind of surprised me that it seemed that he wore out a little bit, because you'd think that style would lend to, going deep into this thing. But we'll see how it goes. I hope that Wilson and Walker both advance, and we're able to see how their differing styles kind of match up.
Yeah, so it should be fun as the Home Run Derby continues to play out this evening. We got to take one more break, and when we come back, we're going to do a little bit of this, I think, every show this week, and we certainly will do some on Wednesday. But we're going to talk about Kyle Sixto wrapping up his KMOX tenure with these 3 shows. I am so thrilled. I'm not thrilled that he's leaving, but I am so thrilled to get to be here during his last 3 shows. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and all the things that Shooter has done during his time here in St. Louis, and what's still to come, and how you can stay in touch with Kyle as time goes on. We'll take one more break. Graybar Sports Open Line continues after this on KMOX.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new brick you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623. 800-499-6623.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
No! USA is up 2-0. That is the most dangerous lead in soccer.
Relax, Mike.
See that, Dan? My left eye is twitching. That's my warning eye. It'll be 2-2 by stoppage time. It's never wrong.
With early payout from Bet365, I got paid the second they went up 2 goals. So to me, it's now the safest lead.
Early payout from Bet365, huh? Now my right eye is twitching, Dan.
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Missouri. T's and C's apply. In-app only.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear.
It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
We've been here 30 years. 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy, weight gain, or issues in the bedroom? Well, Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, but they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. So get in, get answers, and get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. 100 years of service and still at your service. KMOX.
Pretty epic music bumping back from break from producer Kyle Sixta. For our final segment of the evening, Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. If you missed anything, you can go back and hear the first hour, our conversations with Jacob Sersasimo of KMOX, and also with Sam Dykstra of MLB Pipeline. And then we chatted with Bill McDermott for much of this second hour on the World Cup and the semifinals looming these next couple of days. Make sure to stay with us for the next couple shows as well. We'll have, of course, Redbird Rush Hour with Kevin Wheeler from 5 to 6 the next couple days, and then I'll be in for Matt from 6 to 8 on Sports Open Line as well for these next 2 days. Mentioned it earlier in the show. We're obviously going to continue talking Cardinals. We'll continue talking World Cup. We're also going to have some visits on SLU soccer, hoping to get both Katie Shields and Kevin Kalish, head coaches of the women's and men's teams, respectively, for the Billikens, to talk about their squads. They just announced their schedules last week. And both of them are impressive. In particular, the women's schedule, some star-studded programs on their non-conference slate, including a couple of them coming here to St. Louis to play at Herman Stadium. Those seasons getting underway in just about a month. So we'll talk about, how you can get tickets, but also what you can look out for on those schedules and with those rosters in the coming season, and whatever else suits our fancy at any particular time. And what suits my fancy right now, and will in some part for the next couple of days as well, is to talk about producer Kyle Sixta and his journey here in St. Louis and at KMOX. He's been a St. Louisan down from Joliet for almost 6 years, came down for Lindenwood, and we hung on to him for a little while, not as long as we would have liked. Been at KMOX for close to 3.5 years, and he and I have worked together in some form or fashion for all of that time, because he was our primary producer on the St. Louis City Soccer Report in its initial iteration when myself and Jen Cease were doing that and producing city games as well. Went on to do quite a few Cardinals games and then served last year as the in-booth Cardinals assistant. So if you know him as Shooter instead of Kyle Sixta, thanks to John Rooney on Cardinals games, that is why, because John and Kyle are close friends from their time in the Busch Stadium radio booth together. Kyle, we're going to have more time for this as things go on here the next couple of days. But with you wrapping up your time at KMOX on Wednesday, I just wanted to start with kind of some big picture. And when you came to St. Louis, I imagine getting involved with KMOX and with the Cardinals, these were things that would have been at the top of your list, and you got to do those things.
Yeah, 100%. I'll be brief because no one wants to hear this.
This is what I want to hear.
No, when I came here and I got into broadcasting at Lindenwood, that was the end goal, was something, just get involved with the Cardinals, make as many connections as I could have. Working at KMOX goes kind of hand in hand with that, because the Cardinals and KMOX are obviously together. So doing this job and being able to go work for the Cardinals, it was just something that if you told me this 6 years ago, I would have said, no way, that's crazy talk. So being able to be here for as long as I was and getting to do the things that I was able to, and just getting to meet the people that I met along the way, it's stuff I'll never forget. So it's just a blast getting to work here, and looking back at it, it's just going to be like, wow, I really was able to do that during my college years and a little bit beyond. And I'm so grateful for everyone here and for my time being so great.
I think it's a good reminder for all of us when we get to talk about something like this, which is an era of someone's life sort of coming to a close and a new one starting, or maybe that's too dramatic, but a chapter ending and a new chapter beginning. It's just good for all of us, even if we're not reaching the end of a chapter, to every once in a while take stock of that fact, because it is so easy. Talked about this briefly during Redbird Rush Hour in a different context with Kevin Wheeler. We as human beings have this natural tendency to automatically reframe our expectations very, very quickly when something good happens, right? You get a better job, or you move into that new house, or get that new car, or you start that new relationship, or you get the promotion or the pay raise or whatever it might be, and we're very quick to reset. Even if that's something that we might have wanted for years, we're very quick to reset that as the new normal, the new equilibrium. We're much slower to do it in the other direction, but it is very good, especially when you've been progressing, I think, to be deliberate, to be conscious about pausing and looking back and appreciating that even if today I don't have everything that I want in this moment, how many of the things I have now are things I wanted a year ago, or things that I wanted 5 years ago, or things I would have dreamed about 10 years ago? And it's just a good thing to keep in mind, I think, for everybody. It's a good exercise. Not to say it's bad to want things, not to say it's bad to dream and reach and work for things and get a little greedy sometimes and try to get the next thing and the next thing, keep striving. But I think it's worthwhile also to appreciate how much ground has been covered. We appreciate you being with us for the ground we've covered tonight. Hope you'll be back with us tomorrow and Wednesday as well. For Kyle Sixta, I'm Nate Gatter saying so long, KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant,